Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Today is, and of course, the first thing that happens is Lila barks. She knows I hit the live button. It is 5 o'clock. It is May 4th, 2026. So, today, what I wanted to do is I want to cover Anna Kempner. Actually, we're going to go, I want to go over some of the documents. We're going to kind of get to know more about Timothy Hudson, and from uh, learning about Timothy Hudson, we're also going to learn a little bit more about Anna. And then later on, towards the end of the stream, I will share some of my Saturday adventures because Saturday I went to a festival and I had planned on doing a live. It didn't happen. But we're going to go over Anna Kempner, some new documents out with Timothy Hudson and everything. So let's roll the intro and I'll meet you on the other side.
The rubber on the model room welcomes all. Thanks for stopping by, answering the call. Ups and downs are normal for some of us. Many days I beg to get off this life bus. Neon lights flicker, my shadow on the wall. Dreams on the ceiling, we run and then we fall. Sharing stories over paper cups. Wheels keep turning but never enough. Life's a ride on a rickety old track. Holding on tight, never looking back. In the rubber and model room we couldn't fight. Rock, climb, love in this crazy ride. Dusty postcards from the edge of nowhere. Heartbeats echo in the electric air. We dance on tables without to we cry. In the rubber and model room we're all high.
Well, welcome in, everybody. I'm so glad to see it. And it is a beautiful, beautiful sunny day here in Texas. It is warm outside, but I have the air conditioner on and it's gotten a little chilly in my living room. So we did the sweater thing today. So, yeah, welcome in, everybody. And look, and see, I'm so used to having long hair. I got a haircut this weekend and I feel kind of odd with my hair, but it's okay. It's okay. I'll get used to it. It's a little shorter than I expected. Hey, look at everybody just to pile it in. Teresa made number one, got in here first on the ball. Yeah, so Southern Cats and Hannah's cleaning. Hannah, are you nesting? No nesting. No nesting cleaning. Just cleaning because your house needs to be clean, love. Clover is over there in the vertical. And see, Mastiff is my kick buddy. Thank you. And Kara's over here. And wait, y'all stop that. Kara's over here. Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate that. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Cara. Anyway, so what we're going to do today is I wanted to, may the 4th be with y'all. May the 4th be with y'all. I mean, when all that came out, it was like, what the hell is May the 4th be with? Look, I'm over here talking to the air. Can you hear me better now? My microphone was way over there. Yeah, May the 4th be with y'all. May the 4th be with y'all. Anyways, so what I wanted to do is I kind of want to get to, well, thank you, Clover. Yeah, I'll at the end, towards the end, I'll pull up some of the stuff over the weekend. We had gone to a festival and I had gotten my hair cut right before we went. It actually came out really nice. I was kind of glad with it. But when you brush through it, it just kind of turns to frizz. So today is one of those days where, you know what, I'm dressed, I have makeup on, I'm I even put on earrings, so I'm present. That doesn't mean I'm not gonna have to like jump up and go do something for mom, but I'm present. I'm here. We're gonna chat. So I wanted to bring up the stuff about who Timothy Hudson is and who Anna Kempner is. The trial will be coming up June 1st. And I really, really want to, try to keep up with the trial. Being that it's federal, I have a feeling it probably won't be televised because it's federal. I'm not real sure. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see. Tomorrow is Revenge of the 5th, or is it the 5th? How do they say that? Fifth? Cinco de Mayo. Yes, Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo. I know it's always, my birthday has always been, we always, did the Cinco de Mayo festivals on my birthday just because that was the thing to do. It was the thing to do. So, real quick, let me give y'all a rundown who Anna Kepner is, in case you don't know or you are new here. And by the way, thank you all for being here. My name is Rubber Ramada. My actual name is Sheila. And this is where we call the duck pond. And we just let shit roll off our back. We're here. We're happening. We're hanging out. We're doing our thing. So let it roll off your back. Thank you for. Oh, by the way, I got a new coffee cup. It says, I don't give a duck. Yes, I bought it at the festival. I bought it at the festival. So, yes. Well, thank you. Thank you, C Mastiff. I appreciate that. And got them little duck butts going. Thank you, thank you, thank you with my duck butts. Helen, welcome in. You are in the vertical. If you would like to join and you back out and go back to my channel, everybody's in the horizontal. So, you don't think it'll happen? You don't think it'll happen on the first? Yeah, I know. I just look at all them duck butts over there. Got them duck butts over there. From Russia with love. I got Russian love on my birthday. Well, let me tell you. Here, secret of Rubber Mata. I'm a Russian Jew. Shh. Put that in your pipe and smoke it is what my grandpa always said. So, welcome in. Palm. We're just going to call you Palm because that's the first 3 letters that I can actually pronounce. So, thank you all for being here. Thank you, thank you. So let me give you a little rundown on who Anna is. She was an 18-year-old high school senior. She was from Titusville, Florida. On November 7th, 2025, on a family vacation. She was on a Carnival Carnival Horizon cruise ship, and she was found deceased. It was international waters, which has caused some issues. It was ruled a homicide caused by mechanical asphyxiation. Now, I can tell you there are other charges. There are other charges. There's some SA charges that has been announced. So we will kind of review a little bit of that when we go over Timothy. Um, and let's see. Wait, that's not the one I want. Okay, so on April 13th, 2026, her 16-year-old stepbrother, Timothy Hudson, which on a lot of the court documents you'll just see TH, he was indicted as an adult by a federal grand jury on charges of first-degree murder and aggravated sexual abuse. He has pled not guilty, and he has told investigators he cannot remember the night of the incident. So, and we have recently found out over the weekend they are going to oh, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, over the weekend I've read more information that his father will not be attending. So we do know that. So and that's the stepfather. I'm sorry, the stepfather. So we're gonna go over all that. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna pop up this and let's change my screen to this because I like to hang out and be here. So I just put together a few little things to kind of look at. We're going to read a few things, and then we got some court documents, and let's just roll.
A teen walks from one federal courthouse to another in connection with the death of his stepsister. Appearing in Miami federal court Friday is 16-year-old Timothy Hudson. The sealed proceedings are in connection with the homicide of 18-year-old Anna Kepner. The Titusville girl was killed while on vacation. 7 News broke the story of the homicide back in November as federal agents and Miami-Dade officials boarded the Carnival Horizon. The Titusville teen's body was removed from the ship at Port Miami. She died by asphyxiation and had bruises on her neck. Her body was found wrapped in a blanket on the ship.
I don't know what happened in that room, but this.
So this is just kind of giving you a rundown so we know what we're going to be talking about today. I just kind of wanted to make sure we all knew where we are with all this.
Summation would be that he did something.
Months later, 7 News was there as the stepbrother of the late Kepner was walked into the main federal courthouse in Miami. He visited a federal probation office while inside. I asked him whether he killed his stepsister. He didn't answer and was walked into a courtroom in this sealed federal juvenile case.
Okay. So I do have that. This was a little bit better. I want to share this one real quick. This was a little bit better as to the actual story. So we do have a preview of where we are going with the Anna Kepner case. I want to kind of just put it all together so people that watch on replay crew actually is able to see what is happening. So that's why I'm going over some of this first.
In the quiet glow of a Caribbean sunrise, the Carnival Horizon cut through open waters, carrying thousands of passengers chasing a week of escape. Among them was the Kepner Hudson family, blended, complicated.
This is only 5.5 minutes long, and I dropped the link in the chat. So when I am completely done with my stream, I do put all the links I use in my description box. So that way they're all there. But yeah, so this will kind of give us an update of what we're looking at, the story that we're reviewing. It's only 5 minutes long, and it's going to tell us what we're looking at. And this person, no accountability. I don't know who they are, but this was put out 2 weeks ago. They have good stuff. So if you're not subbed up, please sub up. Go give them a like. Thank them for the stream. This is really good. I like their style.
And like so many others, hoping a vacation might soften the edges of everyday life. But within 3 days, that ship would become the center of one of the most disturbing federal cases in recent memory. A case that would expose hidden fractures, unanswered questions, and a tragedy that no family could ever prepare for. 18-year-old Anna Kepner was described by those who loved her as bright, gentle, and endlessly patient. She had just stepped into adulthood, navigating the uncertain space between high school and whatever came next. Her stepbrother, 16-year-old Timothy Hudson, was quieter, more withdrawn, a kid who blended into the background. No one on that ship could have imagined the storm that was building behind the closed door of a shared cabin. On the morning of November 7th, a housekeeper entered the room assigned to the 3 siblings. What she found would trigger a chain of events that would ripple across the country. Anna's body was discovered hidden beneath a bed, wrapped in a blanket and life vests.
Okay, now listening to this right now, I take a little bit of concern about all the facts simply because her father has made a statement about finding her. So I'm a little confused as to all the facts. So we'll get to that too.
There were no signs of forced entry, no evidence of an intruder.
Wait a minute, it's Hannah's birthday? Well, happy birthday, Hannah. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, Hannah. Tell me I'm missing something.
And security footage showed no one entering or leaving the cabin except the siblings themselves. Investigators quickly realized that whatever happened in that room occurred in a sealed environment, a closed system with only a handful of possible explanations. The medical examiner later determined that Anna died from mechanical asphyxiation. The details were sealed for months, locked behind juvenile court protections, leaving the public with only rumors and fragments. But behind the scenes, federal investigators were piecing together a timeline that pointed in one direction. Timothy Hudson was questioned immediately after the discovery. According to court filings, he claimed he didn't remember what happened. He was described as confused, disoriented, and emotionally detached. After the ship returned to Miami, he was admitted to a medical facility for evaluation. For a time, the case remained hidden.
Okay, so totally derailing here. I'm sorry about that. It's not Hannah's birthday. I'm sorry. I'm just screwing around. So he immediately went in for a mental evaluation because he was having problems. But keep in mind, y'all, he now states he doesn't remember anything. We will get to all that, but he's stating that he doesn't remember.
Hidden from public view. Because Timothy was 16, the charges were filed in juvenile court, sealed from the world. But the severity of the allegations pushed federal prosecutors to take an extraordinary step. They sought permission to charge him as an adult. In March 2026, a superseding indictment was filed, unsealing the case and revealing the full scope of the accusations. Timothy Hudson was charged with first-degree murder and aggravated sexual abuse. Prosecutors alleged that he intentionally caused Anna's death and committed acts that, elevated the case far beyond a tragic accident. The decision to charge a minor as an adult is never taken lightly, and in federal court, it is even more rare. But prosecutors argued that the nature of the crime, the evidence collected, and the circumstances aboard the ship justified the escalation. As the case became public, the family's grief poured into the open.
What justified the escalation?
Lightly, and in federal court, it is even more rare. But prosecutors argued that the nature of the
Yeah.
crime, the
Okay.
evidence collected, and the circumstances aboard the ship justified the escalation. As the case became public, the family's grief poured into the open. Anna's father, Chris Kepner, spoke about the pain of losing his daughter in such a devastating way. He questioned why Timothy was allowed to remain out of custody, living with a relative under electronic monitoring. For him, the idea that the person accused of killing his daughter could sleep in a bed at home while Anna would never return was unbearable. The case struck a nerve nationally. A crime in international waters, a teenage suspect, a blended family sharing a confined space.
Okay. So y'all can watch the rest with the link that I provided. So we're gonna read this real quick. I'm gonna pull me down. Nope, that's the wrong one. How about we'll do this? There we go. Okay. So who is Timothy Hudson? Okay. Timothy Hudson, he's a Florida teen charged with murder. Federal prosecutors, ooh, y'all, I got something on my screen. Federal prosecutors charged a Florida teen, 16, with the murder of his stepsister, Anna Kepner. Timothy Hudson, the stepbrother of Titusville teen Anna Kepner, who was murdered while on vacation with her family, is now charged as an adult in connection with her death. Federal prosecutors say Timothy raped and killed his sister before her body was found under the bed of their shared room on the Carnival Horizon. Court documents showed that charges were formally filed against Hudson in February in juvenile court. The case was transferred to adult court on April 10th, records state. Because the alleged crime occurred in international waters, the case falls under federal jurisdiction. It's mine. It's mine, case one. It's mine, case one. Somebody who said Hannah's birthday, so I was joking with her. It's mine. Thank you, case one. I appreciate that, hun. You know, rubber got to cause chaos somewhere. Okay. So what we know, Anna Kepner, 18, died at 1:17 a.m. on Friday, November 7th, while on the cruise ship Carnival Horizon while returning from international waters to Port Miami. She was a senior at Temple Christian School. She was a guest on board the ship with her stepbrother, stepsister, stepmother, dad, brother, and grandparents. She shared a room with her stepbrother, Timothy, and her half brother, is what the unsealed court documents say. The medical examiner determined that Anna died from asphyxiation or being deprived of oxygen. As of April 14th, the Miami-Dade medical examiner continues to decline to release Anna's autopsy report, stating the records containing active criminal intelligence information or active criminal investigation information are exempt from public disclosure. So, and after the ship returned, of course, like we said a minute ago, he was put in a medical facility and because he was having issues. So on November 9th, there's a text exchange between Timothy's parents. His mom spoke about a short interaction she had with her son while in a facility. I was able to talk to him last night for under 2 minutes briefly. He just keeps repeating over and over he can't remember anything, Timothy's mom, Chantel Hudson Kempner, said. The son took medication for ADHD and insomnia. And he had not taken his insomnia medication for 2 nights on the cruise, including the night before Anna's body was found. Okay, I take insomnia medicine. I am so sorry, but it doesn't work that way, right? Why were they sharing a room? Well, looky who stumbled in. Looky. Hey, Denise. Wait, I have to do it just because. Hey, Denise. Hey, and be sure to tell Ann, hey, girl, hey. Okay. Cheese. Okay, sorry. I've lost my marbles, guys. I've lost my marbles. That's right. hit that thumbs up. And thank you for hanging in the duck pond, guys. Okay. Y'all know me. I got to be a little wild. We have to have the craziness. In order to get through life these days, I have to have the craziness. Okay. So let's see. Let's just watch this just for a second.
And for the first time, a family is forced to answer questions about a murder mystery.
The allegations are this 18-year-old has passed away in a violent manner.
Fox 35 was in the courtroom.
Now, this was a court hearing, and we had watched this on a previous episode that I did on Anna Kepner, and this is in there. But just for those that haven't followed or didn't follow when we did that back then, I'm going to play this again.
When the Kepners had to recount what happened on that cruise ship. Anna Kepner died while on a family cruise a month ago. Today, her stepmother was grilled in family court. Her ex-husband wants custody of their kids. Thanks for joining us on this Friday. I'm Luann Sorrell.
And I'm Garrett Weimer. John's on assignment.
We have
Anna's
that video
family
too.
was tight-lipped walking out of court today when we asked them questions.
Have you been able to ask your son what happened on that cruise ship?
And that was Fox 35's Esther Bauer asking that question. She was in the courtroom all morning. And Esther, what did you learn from today's hearing?
Garrett, well, a big takeaway from court today is Anna's family did not see her for 17 hours on that cruise ship before she was found dead in her cabin. Anna's stepmom is standing behind her decision, saying she did nothing wrong, letting some of the step siblings stay in the same room. Tonight, the Kepner family is continuing to stay silent about what happened to Anna on that cruise. The Kepner family forced to answer questions about what happened to 18-year-old Anna Kepner on the cruise ship where she died.
The allegations are this 18-year-old has passed away in a violent manner.
Court documents say Anna died by asphyxiation and was found under her bed on November 7th. And the FBI is calling her 16-year-old stepbrother a suspect in her murder. Anna's stepmom, Chantel Kepner, now revealing new details about the sleeping arrangements on the Carnival cruise ship.
Was in my room with my husband and his 9-year-old daughter, and then shared a room with his stepsister and stepbrother. The room was directly across from ours.
Chantel testified the last time she saw Anna alive was Thursday night, November 6th, around 6 p.m. She also said she saw her son, Anna's stepbrother, go back to the room around 7 that same night.
With the teenagers across the hall, did you ever go in and check on them?
No, I had went to sleep.
Chantel now defending the kids' relationship with each other.
Did they all get along?
Yeah, the three of them are like the three amigos. They're best friends.
Anna's dad was also in court on Friday, but he was not called to testify. When the family left court, they stayed silent about what happened to Anna. Have you been able to ask your son what happened on that cruise ship? Does the family have any comment about what happened to Anna on that cruise ship? How will you get justice for Anna? And the judge also ruled today the younger siblings who are also on that cruise ship can continue living with the mother. They will not be pulled from their home in Titusville. Anna's stepmom said going forward, that 16-year-old will not be allowed back at their home. Reporting live in.
So this was Anna's ex-boyfriend. So those that have not seen this, it's a little bit shocking.
And Josh, you need to tell me you gotta go. Only take a second. Your name is Josh too. Spell your last name.
T-E-W.
All right. And how old are you?
15.
15. And how did you meet Anna?
Through a past relationship last year.
And how did you actually meet with her? In school?
At school.
At school. What type of person was she?
She was a great woman, you know. I met her at school.
And the circumstances behind her death, you find them to be suspicious? And if so, tell me why.
It was suspicious because I knew that the brother did it, and yeah.
How do you know that?
Because of the past things that happened with him, like I was saying.
Which were those?
About the FaceTime and stuff.
What's the FaceTime?
Whenever I was on FaceTime with her, and when I was on FaceTime with her, and she was laying down, and the brother tried to go on top of her, and
you saw.
That is so disgusting. That is so disgusting. And him being on FaceTime with her as her boyfriend, I know, uh, in my mind, I would freak out. I would call her. I would find a way to get a hold of a parent. I'd be like, "What is going on in that house?" He looks a little bit older than Anna, in my opinion. So I don't understand it. I don't understand how that was even happening in the house.
All right.
Yeah.
And what did how did she react to that?
I was like, what the hell are you doing in the room, you know? Then he got scared and like ran away. And I heard his footsteps like running through the house, you know, because he got caught.
So when you learned of her passing, what was your reaction?
I ran away. He ran away. It was kind of crazy.
And when you learned that she passed away, how did you feel?
I felt very sad, you know, because that was my first love. She was the best that ever happened to me. And I'd even walk to her work to see her, you know, for like 5-10 minutes.
Did you talk with her before her death?
Like 3 weeks before it, yes, ma'am. I was actually supposed to go on the cruise that she went on, but we broke up before then.
When did you split?
See, and then I look at, of course, my mind, the mental health, and that's just me. That's just me. I look at the mental health of now, what are they going to go through? Now, the therapy that this person is going to need. He was supposed to go on that cruise. They broke up. He didn't go on the cruise. He talked to her 3 weeks before it all happened. Imagine what he's going through. Just think about that for a minute.
We split up like 6 months ago.
6 months. Okay.
And everyone said she's just a bright light. So many people were in bright colors today. How would you describe the kind of person she was?
She was a great person. She definitely knew how to throw on her outfit. She was great.
That was cute.
She knew how to put on her colors. It wasn't like a basic outfit.
And this is your mom?
Yes, ma'am.
She's okay with you talking to us?
Yeah, but we need to go.
Okay. I just wanted...
Okay.
What should happen next?
Mom says, yeah, but we need to
What do
go.
you think should happen?
I think that he should
Right,
get
Tara?
thrown in jail for as long as possible. And yeah.
And when did you move into the house?
I have no idea.
Like a year or two?
Maybe like a year ago. I think so.
You'd
I don't
You'd
know.
like to see justice for
Yeah,
for your
I'd like
first
to
love.
see a lot of justice. Yes,
Has she ever complained about his behavior before?
yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
What did she complain about?
She complained about him being uncomfortable.
So my other thought is now that this young gentleman has spoken up and said this stuff publicly, he's going to be. I'm guessing. I'm guessing because I don't know. But will he be drug into court now to give his stance, his opinion on things that had happened? Right, exactly, Teresa. I mean, he can't. I mean, y'all just all shove these cameras and microphones in his face, and he's supposed to be able to clearly say what he wants to say or feels he needs to say. They just stuck him on the spot so bad by doing this. But then I think, like I said, I think about, okay, now is he going to be drug into court? You think he will, see Mastiff? I mean, I'm thinking out loud, but I'm trying to think logically because now, him speaking out loud and being public about his opinion and everything, he's probably been interviewed. We don't all know who's all been interviewed that hasn't been told to us. So
Her being uncomfortable around him because of the fact that he tried to go on top of her in the bed, and because of that, she tried to go and stay the night at her friend's house and to dodge the staying the night at her house.
She ever happened more than once?
Yes.
She ever bring that up with
How many
her?
times did they?
happened more than once. He says yes.
It happened one time around like 3 a.m. that night.
That time when you were on the FaceTime call with
Yes, sir.
3 a.m.
Yes.
Did she ever report that to her father?
No, I have not. I've reported it to the FBI.
Oh, it'll go to court. It's gonna go to court because what's gonna happen is he's pled not guilty. He has pled not guilty. So unless he takes an 11th hour plea and says, okay, this is going to really, I, I, I need to find out. I haven't even looked to see if they're going to seek death penalty or not. That isn't. I don't even know if that's an option. I'm not sure. But here I am thinking out loud again. When it comes time to go to court, that last minute, is he going to change it and plea out to save his ass? I mean, seriously.
What is your name, ma'am? Okay, thank you.
I'm not telling you. I think that's what she said. I'm not telling you. So this is Martin Donahue. This was her uncle. Says, I need everyone's help on this. If you haven't heard this story, then you've been living under a rock. This is my niece, Anna Kepner. She was 18 and was on a cruise, and her dad, stepmom, and other family members. I cannot stay silent about the matter any longer. The stepmom's son killed her and stuffed her naked, beaten body in a sheet and stuffed her under a bed and covered her with life jackets. Then slept on that bed like nothing happened. He told his stepmom when no one could find Anna on the ship. So yes, they know who did it, and it sickens me that the father Chris remains silent about it. Please pass this on till maybe it gets to someone that can do something about it. If nothing's done, it will all come out in the 20th. At least that's what the stepmom said after treating family. If they talk before, they will be banned for the remembrance of Anna. Please pass this so my family can get closure. The people who did this and lied and stalled to tell the rest of us what happened when it did. Now you just all look guilty of a cover-up. So let me see what y'all are saying over here. I don't think so. I think she was sick. She wasn't feeling well. She went back to the cabin. And when she went back to the cabin, nobody ever saw her again, is my understanding. Yeah, I think you're right, Cindy. I think you're right. Well, look what walked in the door. Welcome to the Duck Pond True Crime Hill. Thank you for stopping by on this beautiful sunny day. You think so? You think so, Southern? So I'm going to play this one. This one is a little bit triggering. This one actually has the video of when they found her. This is the hallway video. There's some screaming. There's some really triggering sounds in this. So I just wanted to give y'all a warning. So
please help me! Please help me! No! There's a massive update in the Anna Kepner case. Her 16-year-old stepbrother, Timothy Hudson, has been indicted on counts of first-degree murder and aggravated SA, and he's going to be tried in a federal court as an adult. And I just want to say it's about damn time. Now, if you're not familiar with this case, Anna Kepner was an 18-year-old high school senior from Titusville, Florida. And in early November of 2025, she went on a Carnival cruise with her family and shared a room with her younger brother and her stepbrother. November 6th was the last night on the cruise, and they were all having dinner together, but Anna apparently wasn't feeling well, so she went back to the cabin to rest. And then eventually the boys came back and changed into swimming trunks, but her younger brother left the room first, and so she was left alone with the stepbrother. And later on, when the younger brother returned back to the room and didn't see her, he just figured that she was out enjoying the last night, and he went to bed.
that is just so disturbing. So disturbing to know that the younger brother slept on that bed. No clue. The other brother actually came in and slept in there too.
Thinking nothing of it, not having any clue that she was just feet away from him, stuffed underneath the bed. The next morning, as the ship was making its way back, a housekeeper found her underneath the bed, unclothed and concealed with life jackets. The medical examiner ruled her cause of death as mechanical asphyxiation. Please help me!
Okay, so this is what I wanted to review. Let me pop it up full screen. I'm behind it, so I'm still here. So, I'm gonna read through this, and then there's another video that I wanted to watch, and then we're gonna read a couple documents. So, of Anna Kepner, who is allegedly killed by stepbrother on cruise, reveals why he's skipping her murder trial. And there's the beautiful Anna. She's so pretty. Okay, Anna Kempner's father will not be at her murder trial unless he absolutely has to be. Anna, 18, we all know that. 16-year-old stepbrother identified. Okay. New interview with the Daily Mail. Anna's dad, Christopher Kempner, said that as the murder case heads to trial in June, he will not be present, nor his wife and Timothy's mother, Chantel Kempner. Unless they ask for me to be there, neither my wife or I will be attending, the Titusville, Florida father said in an interview published Friday, May 1st. I have heard all the evidence. I saw it for myself. They have everything they need, Christopher 41 said, adding, it's going to be too painful to relive it all again. Christopher also told the Daily Mail that he was one of the first people on the scene when his teenage daughter was found dead under her bed on the cruise last year. So see, this is my problem. This is why I'd made the statement that there's a little deferring of facts in my thought, because they said the maid found her, and now he's saying that he checked her pulse and pulled her out from underneath the bed. So I'm a little confused, but we're going to keep going. Okay, so he says, I checked her pulse. I pulled her out from under the bed, the grieving father told the outlet. I knew my daughter was dead long before the medical examiner got there. I don't want to be back in that room, he added. Anna's father also shared that her loved ones planned to gather on what would have been her 19th birthday on June 13th. Christopher said the family will honor his daughter by enjoying some of her favorite activities and building a butterfly garden. Right? Right, Cara? Yeah, that younger brother accidentally sleeping, I wouldn't know. I would have my own trauma memories after knowing the next day. I mean, think about that. The next day, you wake up to find out that your sister has been deceased under your bed. Right. Yeah, you're right, Cindy. You're right. So did the maid come in and start cleaning and then found her, and then all the family come running? I think that's what happened. If I'm now my memory's serving me correctly. You're right. The maid found her, everybody came running, screaming, and probably the dad, seeing her on point, actually grabbed her and pulled her out from underneath the bed. So we're celebrating Anna. Hang on, let me change this back around. We are celebrating Anna by keeping it all about her and doing the things she liked, he told the Daily Mail. We want to remember Anna and how she lived and not how she died. In June, 16-year-old Timothy will be tried as an adult in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida. He was a passenger and shared a room with Anna on the Horizon and was traveling back to the port in her Miami. Allegedly sexually assaulted and intentionally killed her on or about November 6th, 7th, 2025. Okay. So this was interesting. Yeah, butterflies for Anna. I mean, I totally I'm with that. Um, so this was interesting. We're going to read over this. Um, this is the order to finalize transfer to adult prosecution and unsealing the court records. Matter before the court on an unopposed motion to finalize transfer to adult prosecution and unsealing of the court records that was for disposition. The court had heard argument in the motion and reviewed the supporting record, at which the court announced its findings on the record. This order is entered to memorialize the court's finding on the docket. It's thus ordered and adjudged. On February 26, 2026, United States District Court Judge Beth Bloom entered an order in this matter, transferring this case to an adult prosecution, the February 26, 2026 order. On March 10th, 2026, pursuant to the provisions of 18 U.S.C. 5032, the United States filed written certifications of the juvenile clerk of courts to Miami-Dade and Brevard counties in the state of Florida regarding Timothy. The court reviewed a certification from the juvenile clerk of courts and finds they satisfied the requirements of 18 U.S.C. 5032 and district courts February 26, 2026 order. Specifically, the court's review of the supporting records and hearing allows it to find that no juvenile court or other appropriate court of the state has jurisdiction or refuses to assume jurisdiction over Timothy with respect to any alleged act of juvenile delinquency. According to the pursuant of 18 U.S.C. 5032 and district court, it's ordered and further ordered the clerk finalize the transfer of this matter to adult prosecution. So this is showing that they actually changed it over to an adult. It's further ordered that the court records in this matter, including filings and court electronic dockets, be unsealed by the clerk of courts, accepting the items specified. Accepting the items specified here. A is pursuant the docket entry 42 and its attached certification shall remain sealed. B, should either United States or Timothy Hudson order any copy of the transcript, the February 6th detention hearing, said transcript shall be provided to parties and also filed under seal. So the transcripts are going to say under seal. Let's see. So that's that. And let's see here. I wanted to listen to this. I started listening to this guy. This was really good information. I'm going to drop this in chat. This is Tony Bruschi. Hidden Killers, True Crime Today. It also, like I said, also it will be in the description box when everything is complete. So he had a lot to say, and I really liked how he said it. So I wanted to include him just because.
3 months. That's how long it took. 3 months after Anna Kepner's death was ruled a homicide. Her body found hidden under a bed on a Carnival cruise ship, wrapped in a blanket, covered with life vests.
Me neither.
Her 14-year-old brother sleeping feet away without knowing. Her 16-year-old stepbrother walked into Miami's James Lawrence King Federal Justice Center for a closed-door hearing with a federal judge, according to the Daily Mail, which had exclusive images of the arrival. He showed up flanked by his father, Thomas Hudson, a scrawny kid in a camo hoodie and a ball cap, eyes forward and mouth shut. And according to well-placed sources cited by the Daily Mail, he wasn't there for one charge. He was there for multiple, at least two. But here's the part that changes the entire shape of this case. Anna's own father, Christopher Kepner, told the Daily Mail he was, and I'm quoting directly, unable to confirm or deny that his stepson was facing murder and SA charges. Yeah.
Keep in mind, this was 2 months ago, so this is before that article came out.
And a case where the preliminary findings back in November, reported by ABC News, told us there was no signs of SA. No drugs, no alcohol in her system, just mechanical asphyxiation.
Keep in mind, like I said, this was 2 months ago, so things have changed. More facts have come out, and things have changed.
Asphyxiation from what investigators described as a bar hold, an arm pressed across the neck, 2 bruises on her throat. That was the picture. That's what we were working with for months. And now, if SA charges are part of the federal prosecution, and what the FBI built during 90 days of silence just rewrote the story, every single person following this case thought they understood. Now, let me be clear. Christopher Kepner's statement is not a confirmation. Unable to confirm or deny is a careful choice of words, but it's not a denial either. And this is a man whose position has shifted dramatically since November. When the Daily Mail first spoke to him on November 11th, he dismissed any suggestion that his stepson was a suspect. 2 weeks later, he told People magazine he was the only one in the room. I can't say he's responsible, but I can't rule it out. I want him to face the consequences. Well, the consequences have come knocking. That's a father watching the evidence pile up around a kid who lived in his house, who was part of his blended family, who was allegedly alone in that cabin with his daughter the night she died. I mean, for a moment, and look, there's a lot of information on this case. There's a lot of things where we look at the dad and we go, let's talk about your decision-making throughout life and what led us here. Yeah. Look, we can do that. We've done it 1,000 times already. But just for a second, let's look at the human side of this. Let's go and say, life is where it is now. Things have changed. People have made decisions. People have made bets. We've all made bets. I'm not dismissing his choices because I think they're a little curious. But I'm just saying, okay, years later, you're trying to live your life. You got stepkids in your house. You got your daughter. And this is the dynamic. It is what it is. We don't, in this moment, need to judge everybody's past decision-making. And this is the dynamic. You're wondering, you're fearful that another person, another child in your house could have done this, had the potential to do this. We talk about predatory behavior a lot on this program. It's kind of the nature of the show. And we actually just did a piece about Nancy Guthrie about predatory planning. It's like, it almost like predatory planning. It's plan for your future. I feel like we're like Tom Selleck is going to give a commercial.
This guy is good. This guy is good. So if you're not subbed up to him, like I said, I dropped the link in the chat. He is good.
You'll hear about IRAs or something. Predatory planning. Ask your financial advisor today. But predators do plan. And how often the planning is missed by everybody in the circle. I did
too on my cruise, Cara.
Because number one, we're all distracted by 1,000 things. And number two, the idea that someone close to us could be predatorily planning something against another person in the circle that's really, for the most part, should be there to support and care about each other. Like this is your group. This is your pack. You got each other's back, that sort of thing. We don't want to think that somebody in the pack might not have each other's back or only do for a certain reason and want to take advantage of somebody in there and still.
Just so you know, yeah, this is Tony Bruschi. He does journalism and everything. He does the true crime. He has his podcast. And he does more like true crime, and he does paranormal investigation. He's smart. He's smart as a whip. But it's called Hidden Killers Channel, and he does a lot of Substack stuff where he gives a lot of written information. He's awesome.
They'll have each other's back, but they want to hurt somebody in the process. Get something out of them. And how often we miss that as human beings. I'm wondering how much, looking back, that family is doing right now. And again, I'm not saying any.
And again, like I'm saying, looking back right now, what are they thinking? What triggers? Not triggers, but red flags may they have seen and didn't address? What, are these parents and step parents thinking now, "Oh, yeah, I remember this incident. Oh, wait, that was kinda odd." Were there red flags?
But he's guilty or innocent here at this moment in time. We don't have that. But certainly with these accusations, and obviously we know the dynamics of what's going on here, you're going to be wondering. You're going to be looking back. You're going to be looking like, wow, what did that mean? That look, the phrase that was said, that action that was taken, was that something other than what I interpreted it as at that moment in time? I mean, it's a natural thing to be doing if they're introspective at all. I don't know. But it would be, I think it'd be a mountain. A very hard mountain to climb. A difficult pill to swallow, if you will. But I think you need to do it, be intellectually honest, especially considering your daughter's dead. So how do we get here? Because the road from November to this federal courtroom is I would say one of the strangest procedural journeys that we've covered. And as we continue into this, give me your thoughts in the comment section on YouTube or our Substack, hiddenkillers.substack.com. The link is in the description. It's free right now. Join it, get in on everything. And here's the thing. Almost everything the public learned about this case didn't come from the FBI. It came from a custody dispute. Chantel Hudson kept.
This was what I thought was very interesting, which we went over this in my last stream, but I just kind of want to get
Anna's stepmother and the mother of the suspect was in the middle of a divorce and custody battle with her ex-husband, Thomas Hudson. And those court filings became the window into a federal homicide investigation that the FBI refused to open themselves. That's where we learned the stepbrother was identified as a suspect. That's where the text messages surfaced. That's where the behavioral history came out. Family court did the FBI's job for them, whether the FBI wanted it or not, at least the public-facing end of it. The text messages alone were damning, not because they proved guilt, but because they showed priorities. On November 8th, roughly 32 hours after Anna's body was found, Chantel finally texted Thomas, "I need you to call me ASAP. It's an emergency." That's a day and a half. The ship had already docked in Miami that morning, and when the text started flowing, the focus wasn't on Anna. It wasn't on grief. It was on containment. Thomas texted about keeping things hush-hush, about making sure their son didn't get unnecessary comments on social media, because God knows that's really what we need to be concerned with. Those unnecessary comments.
Wait a minute. Didn't we just watch something about that the other day in my last little stream that we did? I believe Rebecca Parks' mom and stepdad were sitting there worried about all the little comments on social media. Hello. And what is happening here? I have questions. And that's I love this guy, and he has such a dramatic effect when he speaks. You think so, classmates? Yeah, that's very possible. I like him. I like him a lot. I like him. And Orange, and I seen somebody else pop in. Hey, vamos. Welcome in. Welcome in. I see you.
Your daughter's dead. Might have been the stepson that did it. But let's make sure you don't get no comment. Like what? I don't know. If someone ever did this to my daughter, they would be dead. I mean, I don't think we'd make it to court. I don't think we'd make it to the phase of oh, he's texting about social media, or no, he's in prison because he's killed the person who killed the daughter. Yeah. Guaranteed. But
Hey,
somehow
Joe's case one.
your daughter's dead, and just less than 24 hours in, you're like worrying about social media management and PR for your stepson. Really?
Really?
How about you let Snowflake burn, okay? Unnecessary comments. Why? Might it hurt his feelings? Maybe he should have had his feelings hurt a little bit more in life leading up to this. Maybe he wouldn't have thought to have the authority to do such a horrible thing, allegedly, if he did, had he had his feelings hurt a little bit more, had he been shoved down a little bit more in life. Told, hey,
Mustang.
you're an idiot
Welcome in, love.
kid. You can't do this sort of shit. We're not going to allow it. There's consequences to your actions. Maybe he wouldn't have felt that he had the autonomy to carry out a plan like that if, in fact, he did. And we don't know. Let's just
All
say
alleged.
he did. But you're already wrapping him in bubble wrap
Right, Orange?
so he doesn't have to feel the consequences of his actions. Oh, poor little snowflake. Chantel responded that he was a minor and his name shouldn't be anywhere and that they'd known more. Once the autopsy came back, then she wrote the line that tells you everything about what the family already understood.
Thank you.
Once we get the autopsy today, depending on what it says, depending on whether he's booked on those charges, they knew. From the moment that ship docked, they knew charges were possible. And instead of reckoning with that, they went into damage control mode. Chantel also described visiting her son at the psychiatric facility where he was placed immediately after disembarking the cruise. According to her text, he told her repeatedly that he couldn't remember anything from the night Anna died. Can't remember. The same kid who was the only person seen on surveillance footage entering and exiting the cabin. The same kid who, according to Stephen Weston, the father of Anna's ex-boyfriend, who told Inside Edition about conversations with his son, was allegedly obsessed with Anna and was reportedly once caught climbing on top of her while she slept during a 3 a.m. phone FaceTime call. The same kid whose older brother, Andrew, who wasn't on the cruise, later testified in custody court about chokeholds being used in the household. The same kid who had been prescribed medication for ADHD and insomnia, and according to his mother's own testimony, had skipped the insomnia meds for 2 nights on the cruise, including the night before Anna's body was found.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me be perfectly honest with y'all. I take insomnia meds. Okay, I'm just being blunt, honest. I also take clonidine. The same medication that they keep talking about. I'll tell y'all right now, if I miss 2 doses, you just can't sleep. You get a little bored and stir crazy. But never in my wildest dreams, missing 2 nights of meds, have I ever thought, let me go take out somebody, stuff them under my bed. Okay? We can't blame this on medication missing 2 nights. I don't agree with that. That's my opinion. It's my observation of actually dealing with my own medications and knowing what everybody's different. I understand that. But knowing what my body does and reacts, I really do not think that missing 2 nights is going to actually put you over the edge to do anything lunatic like this. Just my opinion.
For 3 months, that kid was living with a relative in an undisclosed location in Florida. When the Daily Mail tracked him to that rural home before charges were filed, he said 5 words: "I'd rather not talk." I bet you'd rather not. That was it. Now, leading up to the federal court's appearance, Anna's grandmother, Barbara Collins Kepner, posted on Facebook that her step-grandson had turned himself in. According to the grandmother, he was initially charged as a juvenile under Florida state law, but the FBI would seek to have him tried as an adult. So she also made an accusation that cuts to the heart of the family fracture in this case. She said Thomas Hudson, the suspect's biological father, fired the defense attorney and got 3 more days of discovery. Her words, it's his biological father and her first stepmother, Tabitha Kepner, that are interfering with the investigation and keeping us from getting justice. That's the quote. That's a grandmother's account on social media. Not a verified court record, but it tracks with everything we've been watching play out. Everyone's innocent until proven guilty. This is an opinion piece. Because there are clearly 2 sides of how this family works now, and the divide appears to be total. On one side, you got Anna's people, the Kepner grandparents, Barbara and Jeffrey, who took Anna on their first cruise. You heard her say, Mima, I love you guys. I'll see you later. The night before she died, Drew Kepner, Anna's uncle, who posted in Facebook groups tracking this case. It's a heartbreaking day when a murderer can walk around as if nothing happened, showing no remorse for taking the life of an innocent young woman while his dad's family seems completely fine with it. Our justice system is deeply flawed when it takes this long to act despite undeniable evidence. Yeah, I'd say so. On the other side, you have Thomas Hudson, the man who texted Chantel that he wanted their son to know he isn't just dead to everyone, that regardless of everything at the moment, he needs his parents. The man who, according to the Daily Mail, walked his son into that federal courthouse standing by his kid, which, look, that's what fathers do, but it's also the same father that Anna's family accuses of actively slowing down the process. Then there's
So just to show y'all something, just for proof. You see here? This is the Anna Kepner Facebook page. Okay. Did they even charge anyone with the murder? So this person says, no, not yet. It's been quiet. Well, looky here. Family members are jumping in. He was charged, but his father fired the attorney and got 3 days more discovery. He was charged as a juvenile for the state of Florida. The FBI will charge him as an adult. We will just have to let the process happen while the family's not speaking. So this just show. I'm just trying to show that yes, they are jumping in. Family is jumping in these comment boxes. So, and that's just stirring more shit up. It's not wise. It's not wise for family members to do that. In my opinion, I just really don't think it's wise.
Christopher Kepner, Anna's biological father, caught in the middle of all of it, married to the suspect's mother, stepfather to the boy accused of killing his daughter, the man who stood in that Brevard County courtroom in December supporting Chantel during custody proceedings, who told people he wanted the kid to face consequences, who now won't confirm or deny that the charges include SA. That's a man holding an impossible position, and every word he chooses or doesn't choose carries weight. The legal road ahead is complicated, and it's going to take time because this happened in international waters. Federal jurisdiction applies. The hearing was closed, sealed because the accused is under 18. Everything stays sealed unless and until the case is formally transferred to adult court, which prosecutors have reportedly indicated they intend to pursue. If that transfer happens, the record's open. The public gets to see what the FBI spent 3 months building in silence. And that's the thing that should bother everyone following this case. Regardless of where the charges land, virtually everything the public knows about the death of Anna Kepner comes from a custody battle between 2 divorced parents fighting over their kids.
And he's right. All we knew was from court. We seen court testimony of this custody battle, and then that's when all these facts started coming out about the charges and all this stuff, which we shouldn't be finding out that way.
Kids. The suspect's identity, the memory loss claims, the text messages, the medication history, the obsession allegations, the prior incidents in the home, all of it leaked through civil court filings. In a family law case, it had nothing to do with the federal homicide investigation. The FBI built a wall of silence that lasted 90 days. The family court blew it wide open. And now, according to the Daily Mail, the charges may be more severe than anything that was publicly reported during those 3 months of waiting. Because let's think about what that means. If the preliminary findings in November said no signs of it, and federal prosecutors now reportedly bringing charges that include it, then something changed. Either those early findings were incomplete, which happens, especially before full autopsy and forensic workups are finished, or the deeper investigation uncovered evidence that told a very different story than the initial assessment. Either way, every piece of behavioral evidence that circled this case from the beginning, the alleged obsession, the FaceTime incident, the fixation that Anna's ex-boyfriend family tried to warn people about, all of it takes a different and much darker weight. Anna Kepner was 18 years old. She was a cheerleader at Temple Christian School in Titusville, Florida. She wanted to join the Navy after graduation. She loved dolphins, butterflies, and Georgia Bulldogs football. She'd gotten her boater's license before she could drive. Hundreds of people showed up to her celebration of life. They turned her car into a memorial with flowers and balloons and handwritten notes. Her grandmother remembered the last thing she'd ever said to her. "Mima, I love you. See you later." And then never saw her alive again. 3 months after that night, on deck 8 of the Carnival Horizon, a kid in a camo hoodie walked into a federal courthouse and said nothing. The hearing was closed. The records are sealed, but the silence that protected this case for 90 days is finally, slowly starting to crack. And what's behind it may be worse than anyone was willing to say out loud thus far.
Okay, so we're going to leave him at that. So what I did want to go over also with this, there's 5 more minutes left on that if y'all want to go watch it on your own later. Description, the links will be in the description box for anybody on the replay group. So where is Timothy? Right now, this is the document. Cause before the court regarding the minor's release status and pursuant to the requirement of Title 18, United States Code Section 5043, it's hereby ordered and granted that the minor, Timothy, shall be released to the custody of his uncle, Devon Zisk, who resides in Brooksville, Florida, until the date of pretrial detention hearing in this matter, scheduled for Friday, February 6, 2026 at 10 a.m. It's further ordered and adjudged that Devon Zisk will cause the minor age to Timothy to appear before the court at the hearing at the date and time above. So, just to back up for a minute, this is motion to review and revocation of order of release pursuant to the Bail Reform Act. So this is going over the basic information, relevant factual background. So I wanted to kind of go over it to see what is actually in the documents. And then I have a couple more 30-minute videos that we can review before we go. I do want to try to keep this under 2 hours. So anybody on replay crew, it won't be too much to rewatch. So on or about November, we know most of this relevant factual background. So we know this, that the date. Okay, so allegations against the defendant for 1 count of murder in the first degree in violation of, and 1 count of aggravated sexual abuse in violation of 18, those numbers. On February 3rd, 2026, defendant surrendered himself at the United States Attorney Office in Miami, Florida, and was officially arrested. On the same day, the defendant had initial appearance on the information before Magistrate Judge Torres and pled not guilty to the allegations containing the information. The defendant also demanded discovery, and the magistrate court entered the standard discovery order in this matter. So let's go ahead and read this. And this was the footnote for that. While the JDA does not discuss discovery, the government, in anticipation of its request to transfer this matter to adult prosecution and to afford the defendant due process, agreed to this entrance of the standard discovery order. Therefore, on February 19, 2026, the government provided its first response to the standard discovery order to defense counsel, which included Rule 16 discovery, Giglio information, all existing FBI reports, and Centennial items, in addition to advanced Jinx material not previously provided on February 4th before the JDA detention hearing in this matter. Government also provided second and third response to the standing discovery order in addition to the materials March 20, 2026 and April 7, 2026. Okay, so additionally on February 6, 2026, a detention hearing was held pursuant to 18 USA 5034 upon the government request. The defendant be detained for dangerousness. I'll get the word right. The defendant requested the magistrate court also conduct a probable cause hearing. After the JDA detention hearing, Magistrate Judge Torres found there was probable cause for the alleged charges to be denied to the government's request for detention. As a result, the magistrate court released the defendant into the custody of a family member with various conditions and entered the instant release order. At the JDA detention hearing, Magistrate Judge Torres also stated the government could ask to revisit defendant's release status should this court transfer the matter to adult status prosecution. February 26, court entered an order transferring this case to adult prosecution upon motion of the government and a written request of the defendant, which is the transfer order. I think we read the transfer order. Yes, that was this one. That was what we read a minute ago, was the transfer order. Okay. So footnotes say, although the defendant argued that the JDA detention hearing and the JDA proceedings were not criminal in nature, and even though JDA does not provide the right to probable cause hearing, the government did not object the magistrate court deciding whether probable cause existed for this information. As fully explained in pages 11 through 12, the defendant was not released on any type of bond. Magistrate court released the defendant pursuant to the instant release order, which includes a series of conditions as part of the order. Okay. So, furthermore, on March 10th, 2026, 12 days after the court's transfer order, a federal grand jury in the Southern District of Florida issued a superseding indictment charging the defendant with one count of murder in the first degree violation of 18 U.S.C. 1111, count 1, and one count of aggravated sexual abuse in violation of 18 U.S.C. 2241. April 8, 2026, after a hearing, Magistrate Judge Torres found the proper certifications had been filed. Thus, Judge Torres ordered the transfer to adult prosecution be finalized in this matter and further unsealed the dockets. Okay. So, trying to get to the part where it says, okay, that's the bail reform. There is a section here. Hey, Rock Chalk, you're over there in vertical, girl. Everybody's in horizontal. Thank you for coming. Seen it pop up down there while I was reading. Okay, here we go. The provisions of JDA no longer apply in this matter. Let's see. Was trying to find, there was a list here. So nonetheless, even if the court ultimately disagrees with the government regarding pretrial detention, applying the provisions of the Bail Reform Act will provide the court with the benefit of considering other forms and manners of release, namely personal recognizance bonds and secured and unsecured appearance bonds. After the JDA detention hearing, magistrate court issued the release order without any kind of bond. However, this decision was mostly due to Section 5034's limited wording. As the government itself stated, the JDA detention hearing, in plain language, Section 5034 simply did not provide authority for the parties to request, nor for the magistrate court to impose some sort of bond in lieu in detention. Thus, the magistrate court simply did not have the option of considering bonds under the JDA. However, now the provisions of the Bail Reform Act control bonds are now available for this court's consideration. The court should consider for two reasons. First, in light of the factors outlined in Section 3142, the court could decide a bond with conditions would better address the concerns and circumstances involving the release of the defendant. I mean, this kid is just out there. He's just out there. He's out there hanging out with his uncle, going to work during the day. Second, given the substantial change in circumstances resulting from the adult transfer, the court should consider whether some type of bond should be fashioned to better address the new risk and consequences inherent in the defendant's adult prosecution that did not exist when the case was in juvenile status. As previously discussed, the defendant's exposure to punishment has changed substantially. In addition, he now faces very real possibilities he could be a convicted felon. Are you trying to say that as a juvenile he wouldn't be a convicted felon? I'm sorry, what? In addition, he now faces the very real possibility he could be a convicted felon. Okay. For these additional reasons, the court should review the release order. So the government therefore respectfully requests the court order and conduct a review or revocation of the release order, the provisions of the Bail Reform Act. The government further requests the court sets this matter as a status conference in order to schedule a hearing regarding the instant motion. The status conference is necessary for the government to coordinate the attendance of the case agents and for the defendant to coordinate his travel to the Southern District of Florida with his attorneys and custodial family members for any subsequent hearing on motion. So, we're going to watch this one first. I have two of them. This one's 26 minutes and the other one's 22 minutes. So, we're going to watch these two. These are both from Law and Crime. This was 12 days ago. Some of it kind of overlaps a little bit, but it does get to the point and helps us understand what we're watching. So,
was scheduled to be in court in Miami. This is video of 16-year-old Timothy Hudson entering Miami's federal courthouse in February. And at that time, we didn't know why he was going into court, but now we do because he has been indicted in the murder of his stepsister, Anna Kepner, and he is being tried as an adult. This is video per WTVJ.
So we've read over the documents, we've watched a few videos, and that's the thing I like about Law and Crime is they can sum all this up into 30 minutes and make it make sense. I can read these documents, I can go pull up little excerpts and stuff, but then to sit down and watch this 30-minute or 22-minute segment kind of pulls everything together and puts a little bow on it before we check out. Before we check out what I did at my big ass crawfish festival at the end of today's stream. Wait for that.
Television reporters surrounding the teenager as he made his way into court. Back then he was charged as a juvenile, so the case was sealed, but that's not the case any longer. One reporter on that day did ask Hudson straight up, did you kill your stepsister? But he didn't say anything. His lawyer whisked him away. Now Hudson is being charged as an adult. So the question is, are the white gloves still on? Should they be taken off? In some ways they have been taken off, but in others there is criticism right now that this case is still being handled as if it was in juvenile court. I'll talk to a former prosecutor about what's happening here in just a moment. Now, instead of showing for court today for his arraignment on charges of first-degree murder and aggravated sexual assault, Timothy Hudson's lawyers filed this document waiving his appearance. And you can see there on line 3, his lawyers say that Timothy Timothy is entering a plea of not guilty in this case. Since Kepner's body was taken off of the Carnival cruise ship in Miami in November of last year, Timothy Hudson has been living with family members. Right now, he's in the care of his uncle, according to court documents. Prosecutors say that should change because he is now being tried as an adult, and we just got the...
So there's a new little thing in StreamYard, and we're just going to try it out. There's polls. So I'm going to pop it up. If you want to pop, it's all anonymous. So I'm not sure exactly how it works. Heel and I tried to play with it once before, but she played with it. I didn't. So I don't know how she did it or where she did it. I just know how to put in the words. Somehow she moved it. I don't know where or how she moved it, but so it's just going to be right there. So I don't know. Try it.
The argument that Hudson's side is making in hopes that he stays out of jail as this case moves forward. I'll get into that in just a moment. But to make sense of all of this that is happening now, we need to lay down how we got to this point. This is Anna Kepner. She was a high school senior from Titusville, Florida, about 3 hours north of Miami. She was set to graduate right about now. Her family said she had big plans after high school. She wanted to join the Navy. She had hoped of one day returning to her hometown as a member of law enforcement. In November, Anna Kepner joined her family on a cruise. Her grandparents spoke to ABC News. They said that this trip, it was supposed to be a celebration of a blended family coming together. You have Anna's dad, Christopher Kepner, who married a woman named Chantel Hudson, and she is the biological mom of the defendant, Timothy Hudson. Now, Christopher has made some strong...
There you go. That's how that works. You put a 1 or a 2 in the chat. That's all you have to do. Okay. Thank you, Cindy. I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember how it worked. You put a 1 or a 2 in the chat. Oh, so it's not anonymous. I'm sorry. See, it's not anonymous. Okay, but hey, we get votes in there. It's a poll.
Words in the last week or so about his stepson and the accusations he is facing. We'll talk more about that here in just a moment. But as you go back to this cruise, the family was aboard this Carnival cruise ship called the Horizon. This cruise lasted roughly a week. It hit a couple spots in the Caribbean, then was going to return to Miami. Now, the night before this cruise came to an end, the grandparents said that Anna just wasn't feeling well, so she decided to go back to her stateroom early that night. But the next morning, she was nowhere to be found. Those grandparents said they heard an announcement about a medical emergency on the loudspeaker. 18-year-old Anna was found dead in her stateroom. She was allegedly stuffed under a bed. She had life jackets and a blanket covering her. This is video that was taken by Sheldon Fox, who's a reporter with WSVN TV in Miami, of Anna Kepner's body being taken off of the ship and being brought to the medical examiner's office.
You know, I remember when that was first shown, it was very shocking to me to see them taking her off the boat like that. I don't know why it affected me in that way, but it was very traumatic, shocking. So that's why I want to always make this a safe chat. We can sit and chat about things. We can have our opinions, and speculate about things to an extent. I like to provide facts, but with that, I mean, I want to make it a safe place to chat because I know some of these chats out here get a little wild and very biased, and we start hating on a parent or something like that. But we have to understand and openly discuss what's going on. And we all don't have to agree. You know, that's one thing that I've always said. Your opinion is yours, and you are welcome in my chat with any thought. Just keep it respectful.
An autopsy would find that Anna Kepner died of what's called mechanical asphyxiation. Someone had allegedly put her in a chokehold, and that killed her. The only other person allegedly in the room with Anna that night, and there's allegedly surveillance video of this, it shows Timothy Hudson, the 16-year-old stepbrother, entering that room. It is being alleged that Anna's parents had Timothy Hudson, Anna Kepner, and Timothy's brother all stay in the same stateroom. Federal authorities were very quiet about this case for months, but we did learn information from a custody battle that has been...
Okay, so, and then here my thought is on this too. And I'm going to try to put it in words that is not... As a parent, I'm sitting here as a parent thinking, okay, if I had not seen any red flags, or anything. I had 3 children, 3 young children at one time, and I would have never thought anything like that would happen. So I don't know. I mean, I know things are different now. I'm talking in the 90s. Um, if one of them was 18 and legal to put the other 2, which they're all 3-year-old stepping stones, it was, so it'd be 18, 15, and 12, being that my 18-year-old was mature, female. I'm thinking this out loud. Um, my son would have been 15, and then Muffins would have been 12. I I as a parent knowing my kids, I probably wouldn't have thought twice about putting the 3 of them together in a hotel room or something, and me and their dad just having our own room. Um, so I'm trying to put my thoughts in other perspectives and not just be like, "What the fuck? Why did they do this?" Duh, 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 duh," you know? Was there red flags? So now that's where I keep thinking, so what did the parents know? What red flags were there that may or may not have attributed to their thought of it's okay to put these 3 in a room alone? I mean, my kids got along as far as I seen. So you know, I'm just trying to put this in another perspective as a parent and actually back up and think about it and not just like bash the parents. Oh, why did you fucking put them in rooms together? Da, da, da." I'm really trying to think back. But were there red flags? Now, if there were red flags and there were things going on that they should have stopped and said, "Whoa, this is not a good idea," you know? Right, Cindy. Wishful thinking it'll all be okay. Never, never thinking that something would actually happen. I mean, I am. I'm just trying to sit here and think about this, um, respectfully because I'm thinking now with my 3 kids, my daughter being she's my stepdaughter, but being 18, I'd never, so I'm sorry. I'm kind of babbling, but I'm thinking out loud that, sometimes just jumping at parents and everything is not always the correct answer, you know? And that's just my thought, and y'all are all welcome to your opinion. So I'm just telling you what I'm thinking.
Playing out in civil court in Florida involving Anna's stepmom and her ex-husband, who is Timothy Hudson's biological.
Yeah, but see, mine were also blended family. So I don't know. You know, I don't know. It was a now I can say that the 2 older of mine were actually biological, and my daughter, Muffins, was not biological. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Yeah, were there signs before and everything? Um, and Southern, I had 2 girls and a boy. The boy was the middle child. So I'm just, I'm just kind of pondering here. Um, hmm. But I would never expect anything like this to happen as a parent.
Dad. And in one of the hearings, Chantel made an admission that
Yeah.
she allegedly
And
did
this is
not give
what
Timothy medication that he needs for insomnia and ADHD.
As far as
you're
as
right.
far as does he have any diagnoses?
He has ADHD.
And how long has he been diagnosed with ADHD?
About 3 or 4 years.
Those after your separation from Mr. Hudson, correct?
About that timeline, yes.
And does he receive medication for his ADHD?
See, and that's the thing was there's so much drama behind this family because she was a babysitter turned stepmom. I There's just so much drama. If I remember correctly, she was a babysitter and then turned into a stepmom. You're right, Sea Mastiff. You're right. I don't know. I'm gonna let this play and I'll look that up in the background about the family dynamics. Hang on just a minute.
He does.
And what medication was he on for?
Methylphenidate.
Would you pronounce that for me and spell it, Pam, if you know?
Methylphenidate. I don't know the spelling.
Okay.
The name brand's Concerta. That
Okay.
helps.
Thank you.
And how often would you take that medication?
Every morning.
And did he take the medication on the cruise with him?
Yes. He also takes a nighttime.
Okay. All right. Hold up. Whew. Okay. Here we go. So we're going to go over a couple things here. So the babysitter. Okay. The babysitter information. Let's get a few things straightened out here. Okay, so the babysitter, the previous stepmother was the babysitter. Chantel Hudson was not the babysitter. Chris's previous wife, Anna's first stepmother, Tabitha Donahue, was the family's 15-year-old babysitter in 2008. Public records show Tabitha's mother filed a sexual violence injunction against Christopher at that time, though it was later dismissed. And then Christopher married Tabitha, and they were together from 2011 until their divorce in 2023. Now, this is going to floor y'all. This new stepmom, Chantel, they got married in December 2024. They had met less than a year before Anna's death in 2025. Less than a year. They had been a blended family for less than a year. Okay. Yep. Now, red flags are all over the place. And knowing that her son was obsessed with Anna, I'm like, okay, all right. My cart just took a left turn in the duck pond. Y'all, these boats all took a left because this right lane is fucked up. It's fucked up. Yeah, no. Nope. Y'all, hold on. I got something for this.
Yes. Confusing too.
It is.
17.
But sometimes you never know.
When you think you know someone.
I kept telling you something was off. I kept
Why do you
telling
say?
you.
Why do you say that?
Just, you know how sometimes you just get that feeling like these people ain't normal? It's just like that kind of, just that sense. Just that something was off.
Okay. Here we go. Flaming red flags, Cindy. That's what I'm saying. They're just red. They're everywhere. Whew, okay. All right. And see, and this is why we do this. I like doing this live. I like doing this together. Finding them facts, y'all. Finding them facts. And hey, Kim, welcome in. How are you? Yeah, and that's what I said that earlier, Rainy Kim, because I take a couple of those medications that she's talking about. And let me tell you, if I miss it for 2 nights, I'm not going to lose my shit and murder my son. Okay? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go in there and methodically grab a pillow and put it over Hectorius's face. I might be a little bitchy, He'll tell me, "Hey, did you take your meds?" You know, so I mean, come on, come on. There you go. Thank you. Red flags in the
Pill
chat.
as well.
The same medication?
No, it's clonidine.
What is that for?
Insomnia.
Did you hold on to the medications?
Yes.
Did you make sure he took his medications every day?
He took his morning pill every day, and he missed 2 doses of his clonidine at night.
You held on to the clonidine as well?
Mm-hmm.
That's yes?
Yes, sorry.
And what do you mean he missed the doses? What happened there?
He went to bed before he got it. He was already asleep.
Including that Thursday night?
No, Thursday night he didn't get it. I fell asleep before he did.
So just to make sure I understand, ma'am, while on the cruise, he missed taking that nighttime medication twice. One of the nights was because he fell asleep prior to taking the medication, and the other night was the night before.
Correct. I fell asleep before he did.
fell asleep,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
he did not get the medication the night.
Yeah, he didn't come
before
and
the
ask for it.
incident. All right, thank you.
We don't know if any of that will factor into Timothy's defense. Anna's grand.
And this is, and again, I go back to the fact of using it. My words don't even work because I get so damn triggered. I mean, I hate, absolutely hate that they are using this medication excuse right now. I thank you. Here we go. I'll let that just flash for a minute.
Grandparents told ABC News that Timothy is claiming he doesn't remember anything that happened. They said, quote, in his own words, says he does not remember what happened. That is Anna Kepner's grandmother telling ABC News. The grandparents say,
Actually, Kim, I take clonidine for it helps with the sleep, and it's also beyond blood pressure. So there's other uses for it. I don't have high blood pressure, so and no, it's called clonidine. Clonopin. Jeez, here I go. I'm giving out my medical information. Clonopin is for the anxiety. It does help you sleep, but clonidine does have multiple uses.
that Anna Kepner and Timothy Hudson were, quote, 2 peas in a pod. But the family of Anna's ex-boyfriend said that she was allegedly afraid of Timothy in an interview with Inside Edition. They said that Anna would stay at other people's houses allegedly just to get away from Timothy. Now, the family dynamic, that could play a big role in how this case plays out. And it's a case that is going to play out in federal adult court. On March 10th, the federal
And also ADHD.
government filed an indictment against Timothy Hudson. It was just unsealed, and it shows that the 16-year-old is facing charges of first-degree murder and a charge of aggravated sexual abuse. In the last several months, there was reporting that there were no signs of sexual assault on Kepner, but that allegedly was not true, according to this indictment. The indictment alleges that Hudson, quote, did knowingly and unlawfully perpetrate and attempt to perpetrate a murder. That is the willful, deliberate, malicious, and premeditated killing of AK with malice aforethought, meaning he allegedly planned it, not just a split-second act. Count 2 is aggravated sexual abuse, and the indictment alleges that Hudson, quote, did knowingly cause AK to engage in a sexual act and did so by the use of force against AK. The decision on whether or not this case would continue on in juvenile court or move to adult court came down on April.
I will return with an answer. Hold, please.
April 10th, when the judge ordered this case transferred to adult prosecution and unsealed the entire court record. And now we're learning just how much evidence the government has. According to a discovery filing that was unsealed, federal prosecutors have turned over to the defense autopsy photographs and x-rays, the full medical examiner's report with notes, an extraction of someone's cell phone, believed to be Anna's dad, 4 body camera videos from Miami-Dade sheriff's deputies, and FBI timelines created by a special agent assigned to the case. Authorities have also allegedly used 3D crime scene reconstruction technology to show how Kepner's body was found.
Okay. So we're going to answer Southern's question real quick. Let's see. Where did it go? Did I close that damn tab? What did I do with it? Hold on.
In that cabin. For as serious as the charges are that Hudson is facing, why isn't he detained? When Hudson was charged as a juvenile, he was allowed to live with his uncle, according to court records, and that's where he is wearing a GPS monitor. But now that the case is in adult court, prosecutors are asking that Hudson be taken into custody. Prosecutors filed a motion saying that the rules that allowed Hudson to not be in custody should no longer apply, claiming, quote, the defendant is a danger to others and should be held in pretrial detention. They go on to say, quote, defendant engaged in the most serious, egregious, and violative crimes one person can inflict upon another. He committed these crimes against a victim with whom he had no apparent relational strife and whom he was being raised to view as a sibling. Furthermore, he carried out these crimes without any warning. He could commit such atrocious acts and despite an apparent supportive family environment. Finally, the defendant currently lives in a home where minor children reside. Consequently, there is no assurance any court could ever have that any conditions or combination of conditions would be sufficient to prevent the defendant from being a danger to others. Thus, the defendant should be detained. Now, in response, Hudson's defense asked for a hearing to be held in front of the same judge that allowed Hudson to not be in custody when he was facing murder charges in the juvenile system. The defense says, quote, as the past 2 months have unequivocally demonstrated, there is a combination of conditions that can be placed on TH's liberty to ensure that he is not a danger.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to read y'all a few things. We're going to read this real quick. So Anna's real mother's name is Heather Wright. Hang on. I think I can find something. Hang on.
My ex-husband did not try to contact me at all whatsoever to let me know that my daughter died. I found out because I live in Oklahoma.
Okay, this is a little video, but I will tell y'all that her name is Heather Wright. She lives in Oklahoma. She stated that neither her ex-husband nor the authorities notified her of Anna's death. She first heard a rumor from a friend and subsequently discovered the news via Google search, where her daughter's story was already widely reported, and she described the finding of her daughter's death online as measurably shock and pain. Wright and Anna's father, Christopher, divorced when Anna was 4 or 5 years old. She claimed she was largely kept out of Anna's life after moving to Oklahoma in 2012.
Oklahoma. And my youngest son goes to school with a good friend of mine's nephew. And he told her nephew that his sister was murdered on a cruise ship. So I got a text message saying, hey,
Wait, what? Okay, I haven't listened to this. I'm sorry. We're going to back that up just a little bit because
I live in Oklahoma, and my youngest son goes to school with a good friend of mine's nephew, and he told her nephew that his sister was murdered on a cruise ship.
So again, good God, what are we doing? So now more of these kids are being traumatized because they heard it through social media, came home, told their mother, brother, cousin, uncle.
So I got a text message saying, hey, is Anna on a cruise? And you need to find out right away and call me. And I was like, Do what? So I called Anna's cell phone. She didn't answer. So then I got a hold of her on TikTok. Well, tried to get a hold of her on TikTok. She still didn't answer. So I started questioning, why is she asking me about that? So I got on my ex-husband's Facebook where there was nothing on there. So I got on to Cabby, his second wife's Facebook, as the woman that raised my daughter. And there I seen a picture of her car with flowers on it, and Cabby saying they're going to leave it at the high school for a short time as a memorial for Anna. And so that's when I Googled 18-year-old dies on cruise ship is what I put in the search bar. And that's when my daughter's face popped up all the
I could not. I y'all see this is happening. I could not, as a mother, find out that way and not lose my shit. You Googled 18-year-old died on cruise and it comes back with your child's name.
or Google.
I cannot even imagine. Yeah, I just, honest to God, I cannot even imagine finding out about your daughter's death by Googling and not getting a call. And to make matters worse, there was a celebration of life. I'm not sure if it was a full-fledged funeral, but there was some kind of memorial held yesterday. And I'm told that you were banned, that your ex-husband banned you from going. Can you walk me through what happened and what?
All right, guys. I haven't picked up my stress duck in a while, but today I've been using this damn thing. Okay. All right. Exactly. Unbelievable. There's not much more we could say. Unfucking believable. Okay. She wasn't allowed to go to her funeral. That's fucked up. Now I got a problem with the other parents. See? See how times change just like that? Now I got a problem with the other parents. See, I was trying to be nice. I was really trying to be benefit of the doubt, think logically, put it in my mind. There has to be, Clover. There has to be. See what happens? I'm giving a review. I'm trying to be nice. I'm being honest. I'm trying. Play, Sheila, play.
What the circumstances were?
He told me that when I told him I was coming down there, he said that that he knew for a fact that Anna would not want me there. And I said, that's a lie. I was like, but whatever. And he goes, if you step foot in Florida, I will have you arrested immediately for back child support.
And so you went anyway, right? Yeah. In disguise?
Of course. Yeah, I wore a wig and I wore some really tall high heels, so that way, if he was looking for somebody short, he wouldn't see me.
Good for you, Mama.
And were you able to attend the funeral? Did anyone see you or spot you? Like, tell me what happened next when you got there.
Nobody spotted me. I kind of stayed in the back, close to the door. So if I needed to make a quick getaway, I could. It was really nice. They had a lot of pictures of my daughter. I didn't see her dad, but then again, I wasn't trying to either. I stayed for a little bit, but I didn't stay for the whole thing. My anxiety got too high, and I had to go.
And what? Tell me a little bit about the funeral. What was said about Anna at the funeral?
They just talked about how she was a great kid and she did really well in school. She wanted to join the military.
Right. There's so much more to this that we don't know. So why? Okay, she's saying child support. He'll get her arrested for back child support. There's got to be more to it. I mean, we could speculate, we could allege, was she a past user? Does she have a criminal history? What was the reason they didn't want her around? What was the reason there had to have been a reason they didn't want her around. Saying Anna didn't want you there. I mean, that's kind of But why? What happened? Why is it that this is going on? So now I'm questioning this mom. See how this happens? See how this turns into a whole fucking circus?
She had a boating license before she was able to get her driver's license.
Do you know anything about the suspect in this case? And I say suspect not because police have said it. It's the 16-year-old stepbrother. Do you know anything about the stepbrother and the dynamic between Anna and him?
No, because I didn't even know that Tabitha and Christopher had gotten a divorce. I didn't even know he remarried.
Okay. All right. Let me retract some things and re-give some thoughts. Right there. See, live reaction, this is what happens. You didn't even know he was divorced from Tabitha. Okay? So obviously you haven't been in the picture. Because he'd been divorced from Tabitha and had this new woman and been remarried for almost a year. So if you didn't know that, then you haven't been talking to your child and you don't know what's going on. Why is that? Give us more context, ma'am. Ma'am, please, because there's something more to this shit.
Like I said, Christopher and I do not talk whatsoever.
Okay, but that doesn't mean you can't pick up the phone and call your daughter. Your daughter would have told you he was remarried. Your daughter would have told you Tabitha was no longer her. Nope. I got problems.
And he made it extremely difficult for me to even have a relationship with my daughter. And the last time I seen my daughter, he again made me look like a piece of shit. So when I was getting on the airplane, I flipped him off and called him a few choice words I probably shouldn't have. And he told my daughter that I was telling her that. I was talking to her. So at that point, Anna kind of stopped talking to me. So I'd call her on her birthday.
You're drama.
Holiday, that's about it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our...
Oh, Chris, be quiet. Okay, let's go back over here. Let's go back and watch this.
To the community. The defense also says that Hudson has followed all of the rules of his release order that were set more than 2 months ago. Now, Anna Kepner's dad, Christopher, the stepfather, in many ways, of Timothy Hudson, has not held back in comments that he has been making to the Daily Mail. Christopher says that Timothy is a danger to the public and, quote, I want to see him in an orange jumpsuit. He says that Hudson has allegedly not shown any sign of remorse or make an apology for what he allegedly did. Quote, we're upset that he's still out. We're 6 months in and he should already have been arrested, and yet he's free to do whatever he wants right now, Christopher told the Daily Mail. He also told the Daily Mail that neither he or his wife, Timothy's mom, have spoken to Timothy since he was put in the care of his uncle, which was back in December. He reportedly says that Timothy does not remember what happened. Joining us now to talk more about this case, former federal prosecutor and the president of West Coast Trial Lawyers, Nima Rahmani. Thank you, as always, for being with us on Law and Crime. I'm going to start with it's a blunt question that I think a lot of people have. I mean, you see it in the headlines. Based on what Timothy Hudson's accused of, why is he to this point still out and not behind bars?
That's a good question. And typically, if someone is an adult and they are charged with murder, they're going to be detained with no bail. Now, obviously, in this case, Timothy Hudson is and was a juvenile. Now, he's being prosecuted as an adult, but that's not something that can automatically happen in federal court. A judge has to determine that it is in the interest of justice to do so. And the judge has made that determination. But typically, before that happens, juveniles are not detained because the juvenile justice system, its purpose is entirely different. It's for rehabilitation primarily, whereas, of course, in adult court, one of the primary things is to punish, but also to protect the community and to make sure individuals don't flee. And that's why adults who are charged with murder and aggravated sexual assault, they are almost always detained pending trial.
And prosecutors have filed a motion to have the conditions changed so he would be brought into custody, because in kind of paraphrasing what prosecutors wrote, I mean, he is accused of just incredibly dangerous crimes. They accuse him of being very dangerous around people. They say that, the current situation he's in where he's allowed to live with his uncle, there's minor children in the home. And now that he's an adult, things have changed. The defense, they say that he's followed all the rules and conditions that have been put forward. He's on a GPS monitor. He's in, a home where they're looking after him. And they want to have a hearing. How does a hearing like that now work, now that he's being tried as an adult?
So these are bond hearings, and at those hearings, sometimes the defense will argue that an individual who is in custody should be released, or in this particular case, the prosecution is arguing that someone who's out on bond and under the supervision of pretrial services, that's how it works on the federal system, and there's always a series of conditions, right? Own no firearms, obey all laws, surrender your passport, the typical stuff. But what the prosecution is going to argue is that there's no condition or combination of conditions that will guarantee.
Better watch. Amazon going to be blowing your packages away. Blowing them packages away. Yeah, y'all be careful up there. I'd seen that they were getting some storms rolling in. I know we had it really bad the other day here in Texas.
The defendant's appearance at trial and ensure that the public is safe during the pendency of the proceedings. So that is what the U.S. Attorney's Office there in Florida is going to argue. And of course, the defense is going to oppose it. But there's a special hearing just for this purpose.
I know the defense wants the hearing with the judge who allowed him to be in these conditions where he can live at his uncle's house. And of course, in the legal system, you have to follow all the rules and procedures along the way. But it doesn't feel like it's a surprise that he was charged as an adult in this case because he's 16. And then these are very serious charges that he's facing. I mean, how likely is it that a judge would say, okay, now that you're being tried as an adult, we're going to have you in detention as this case now moves forward?
It's very possible. And like you said, it really kind of depends on the jurisdiction. So for instance, in Florida state court, prosecutors don't need permission. They can file and charge a 16-year-old as an adult. But in this particular case,
Total sidetrack. Yes, I got it on my trip this weekend. I don't give a duck. So I got it for my birthday. It was one of the things Hectorius bought me for my birthday. So was my cup. And he's like, you can't drink out of that. I said, sir, what do you think I bought it for? He's like, well, I thought you were just going to display it somewhere behind you. I was like, bitch, no, it's a coffee cup. I'm drinking out this damn thing.
it's because it's the federal system, and in certain states like California, typically you do need approval by the judge to charge juveniles as an adult. And it's really an amorphous standard, really the interest of justice. And similarly, when it comes to bail, judges have a lot of discretion. You know, there are judges that will remand everyone charged with murder, period, or very serious sex crimes, rape, as we're talking about here, especially when you're talking about a murder that was committed. There's really no clear argument for self-defense or lack of intent, right? When you're talking about asphyxiation. There are others that will say, well, listen, this is someone who I agree should be charged as an adult, but is still a minor and was a minor when this happened. I do believe that these series of conditions can protect the public and ensure that he's going to appear in court. So it's a judge-specific decision. There's certainly not a one-size-fits-all, or, you know, I'm not going to paint it with very broad strokes, because really it's up to the determination of the individual judge in the case, and that's what we're seeing here.
And today he was slated to be arraigned. He was slated to be in court. His attorneys waive his appearance. They file this document that says he's seen the indictment, he has the indictment, he pleads not guilty, and he waives his appearance. What do you make of that decision as opposed to having him walk into court there in Miami?
Well, you know, we know these arraignments, it's usually pro forma, right? The defendant almost always pleads not guilty, or the lawyer enters a not guilty plea on his or her behalf. So not a whole lot happens. It's an initial appearance, oftentimes a reading of the charges.
But I personally still think he should be made to appear. I think it's just something that should be within our court systems, that if you're charged with something, you need to appear in court and you need to face whatever it may be. A strangler can't. Yeah, you're right, Teresa. I don't think so. Unless we cut his arms off. I mean, come on. We can go drastic, can't we? Cut his arms off and we can reform him. Okay. Okay. We can't cut members off to reform an SA offender, though, Teresa. That still is not going to reform them. I'm just being, okay. I'm being facetious and silly. I'll be quiet. God, I've lost my mind. And my mouse battery just quit on me again. Damn it. See what happens? See, I'm over here being a smart ass and my damn mouse dies out.
Sometimes they'll even waive that because really all an arraignment is to notify the defendant of the nature of the charges against him or her and a plea. And that's it. Usually it matters and lasts just a few minutes. Sometimes they'll address bail at hearing, but oftentimes if it's going to be a longer hearing and the magistrate is taking many, many pleas, they're going to kick that bail hearing out for a number of days and set aside a specific time to address it. So since we're not addressing bail today, and it's just really an appearance that would take a few minutes, you'd have to wake them up very early, have the marshals bring them into court, be there for a few minutes.
Sir, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if we're going to disrupt y'all. Don't get me. Oh my God. Don't. Okay. Sorry, we have to disrupt his day to make him go to court because he took the life of an 18. Really. We don't want to disturb him and wake him up, make him go out of his way and come to court for only 5 minutes.
Waiting around for hours. The lawyers probably said, you know what, this is a high profile case. Let's just wait until that bond hearing and we can have our client seen then.
What do you make about the decision? Because he is 16 years old and these are very serious charges he's facing, just about the decision in general to have this case tried in adult court as opposed to the juvenile system.
Well, that's the biggest decision in the case, probably bigger than really what the jury is going to find, because the potential exposure for him as an adult is life in prison on these charges. I mean, it's serious. Obviously, minors can't face the death penalty because of Supreme Court precedent. But, in the juvenile system, it's very possible that he would be released when he's an adult. Again, the purpose is very different. It's to rehabilitate, and cases in juvenile court, rarely do you see individuals get any incarceration. There's sort of talk about these camps in juvenile hall, but especially on the federal side, it is not that common. So the fact that you have Hudson being charged as an adult is probably the most important decision in the case and is going to really determine the course of his future.
You look at what's been reported, and Anna Kepner allegedly was, put in some sort of stranglehold by Timothy Hudson, and then her body is found under a bed in a stateroom, and she's covered in a blanket. She's covered in life jackets. And you have what appears to be Timothy Hudson's side of the story, according to family members, was that he doesn't remember what happened. But he is the one who was allegedly last seen going into the room along with Anna Kepner, and he's the only one who comes out.
Okay. And I ain't trying to make a joke out of it, but when I was in a wreck, when I was 16 years old, I was so scared. I claimed amnesia because I knew that I hit that person, and I was so scared. It was 1988. I had a 61 Cadillac with a big old pointy nose front end on it. And I hit the back of a brand new Delta 88 Royal Brougham, whatever it is. Put a big old V dent in the back of that with my big old hood from my Cadillac. I backed my car up, went around him, drove to where I needed to be. And the cops showed up. I have a very distinct car. It was a tan 1961 Cadillac. There wasn't very known back in 1988. There wasn't very known around my road. The cops found me. I don't know what happened. What are you I hit somebody. What are you talking about? I fucking played amnesia. Do you know they did not press charges?
As this case goes forward, and I don't know what his defense is going to be, but if the defense is something along the lines of like, he just doesn't remember and he blacked out and what happened, like how strong of a defense would that be?
That is a very difficult defense. If you're talking about legal insanity under the law, it is a very high threshold. I mean, you do see it in murder cases. We may see it in the Nick Reiner case, for instance. But, you know, if you're looking at...
Oh, that's going to be one of our update dives here. We're going to do is the Nick Reiner. I'm so ready. I'm so ready. Where's that bullshit baby? I know, right? That's on allegedly. So I don't have a bullshit baby. I don't have a bullshit baby. I need to get some more stuff though. But we could play something just to chop it up for a minute. Hold up. We'll just do a couple of seconds. The insanity in the duck pond. The insanity in the duck pond. Abellis. Welcome in, my little peep. Welcome to the duck pond. Glad to see you made it today.
Defenses in murder cases that typically fall into one of really four categories. First was, it wasn't me. Someone else did it. Again, going to be tough, right? I assume there's, video evidence of the two going in and just, Hudson coming out. Obviously, there's likely DNA evidence if there is a sexual act, and there's the potential motive. Then you start looking at self-defense, right? That's another argument that we typically see. Going to be very hard to argue in this case. You have a boy versus a girl, and it's possible, but unlikely. Then you start seeing, ways to potentially negate the intent. So you could say it was an accident, right? We might see that, for instance, in the David case with Celeste Rivas, saying that somehow she died of natural causes. Or you could say sort of heat of passion, manslaughter. Again, very difficult, doesn't necessarily fit the facts of this case. Again, especially when there's a sex act, especially when there's that strangulation, right? It's very hard to argue lack of intent. And then there's legal insanity. Legal insanity, Chris, requires the defendant really to be unable.
Well, also, if she was sexually assaulted, there's going to be DNA.
Able to know right from wrong because of a mental disease or defect. It's a very high threshold. Typically, the burden is on the defense, and jurors don't like those arguments. They succeed in a very small percentage of the time. So again, it's going to be a difficult case to defend on the merits. Now, I'm not saying at sentencing they don't have different arguments for mitigation because of his age, but to get a not guilty or even a hung jury at trial, I think the defense is going to have its hands full.
It's been roughly 6 months since Anna Kepner was allegedly murdered aboard this Carnival cruise ship. And, especially talking about like his potential mental state. I know his mom in like a civil situation involving her divorce and the custody of one of the children being Timothy Hudson. She talked about not allegedly giving him medication for ADHD and insomnia the night that all of this took place. But like how much of over the last several months have investigators likely been looking at his mental state or had an opportunity to have?
And see, here I go again with, we're now going into the mental aspect of this. How much of this is mental? Mom's trying to blame it on not giving him medications. Her ex-boyfriend is over here making comments about that this isn't the first, that the stepbrother was attracted to her, that he's been on top of her before. And now we want to say it's mental. See, this is when Letitia Stout pulled the mental card. That's what made me want to start a YouTube channel. Okay, and here I am.
Have Timothy Hudson evaluated before, here we go, the federal prosecutors deciding to hit him with some major charges.
I mean, that's a big deal. So whether you're the prosecution or the defense, that's something that you have to look into, because at a minimum, it's going to be relevant at sentencing, but it may even be relevant during the jury trial phase of the case, depending on if it rises to that level of insanity or if it does negate the intent. Now, obviously, look, mental health is very real. People don't typically sexually assault their siblings or step siblings, and
I'm just not going to comment. It's probably best that I just don't comment.
Murder them, right? And again, I go back to the Reiner case. I mean, there's some similar things being floated out in the media in that case. So if someone's not on his meds, again, not necessarily a legal defense, doesn't make you not guilty for the crime unless you truly don't know what you're doing. But again, it can be something that is raised as a factor at sentencing that just shows that, listen, this was not an intentional act. Here's someone who doesn't remember. Here's someone who wasn't on his meds. Here's someone who's a minor. I'm not saying I necessarily agree with all of this, but you can really predict the way the defense is going to go here to argue, look, this is someone who deserves a shot, not in the near future, but maybe after serving decades in federal prison, at some point in his adult life, he should have the opportunity to rejoin the general population if he can get these mental health issues under control.
And when it comes to, and we have a long way to go, he has pleaded not guilty.
Please
These
stop
are all
saying mental
allegations
health.
at this point.
That is it is really fucking making me mad. We'll say ducking. It's really okay, no. I'm sorry, I can't do a ducking. It's got to be fucking. Okay, it's really fucking making me mad. They keep talking about mental health. Y'all, okay.
He very well may have a strong defense that we don't know about that can explain a lot of this away. But with that said, like, he is 16 years old. He's facing charges.
Exactly. And that's different. That is different. Thank you, Teresa. That's very different. He has a history of mental health issues. So, like I said, we're going to go over Reiner. I might plan that for tomorrow. I don't have anything pulled up for tomorrow, but I might pull together Reiner stuff for tomorrow, because there was an update that came out the other day that was quite interesting. So I think we'll look at doing that. But yeah, I mean, there is factual proof Reiner had severe mental health issues. So I understand Timothy's still young, but there would have been red flags. And if there were red flags, why weren't they addressed?
That could put him away for the rest of his life. I mean, if he is found guilty and he received.
Damn it, she has a wrench. I was going to say timer out. I don't like Abellis right now. Abellis, go to your corner. We don't want to see that nut job again.
Use a sentence like that. How does the federal system handle someone who's 16 but would be going into a situation at a federal prison that would be incredibly dangerous, I'm sure?
Yeah, Chris, that's a great question. So someone like him would have to be isolated from the adult population. So when you have a high-profile defendant or a juvenile defendant, again, our Bureau of Prisons, it's not set up for people to be incarcerated who are minors. There are not a lot of these cases, a lot of these individuals in federal prison. So you have to protect him from other inmates who are adults, who are potentially dangerous. That's one of the jobs of the BOP. So obviously they segregate people based on sex, but they also segregate based on risk to the inmate and also the risk that the inmate poses to other people in the general population. And here's someone that can't be in the general population because of his age.
Yeah, and a long way to go until we get to that point. But
okay, so let's watch the second one. So Chris Stewart did a second one. This one came out. Actually, it came out today. So I don't normally, when they first come out, I wait a few days to do it. But while we're doing this, might as well, I'm going to drop it in the chat. I'm a small channel. The link is in the description for anybody that watches this on Replay Crew or whatever. But we're going to go ahead and watch it. This was released a few hours, I think 4 hours ago. So this is some new update. And this is about her father speaking out. And this is from Chris Stewart. We're only going to watch part of it.
Terrible detail of what happened to their loved one. It's something Anna Kepner's father says he is not going to do if and when his 16-year-old stepson, Timothy Hudson, goes on trial. Right now, Hudson is slated to stand trial on June 1st on charges that he killed Anna Kepner as well as sexually assaulted her aboard a Carnival cruise ship in November. The teenager is being tried as an adult in federal court. This is video of Hudson entering federal court in Miami back in February when he was still considered a minor in the legal system. He had a lawyer by his side. This video per WTVJ television. And even though he is facing horrific allegations, he's still allowed to live with family members instead of being held in jail before a trial. Now we're going to get into why Christopher Kepner, Anna's dad, says He is not going to go to that trial in just a moment. And we'll also talk about someone else who he says will not be in the courtroom and what that could mean for the defense in this case. But I want to talk about how we got to this point. By now, you probably know Anna Kepner and what allegedly happened to her, this high school senior from Titusville, Florida, about 3 hours north of Miami. In November, Kepner joined her family on a cruise. Her grandparents told ABC News that this trip was a celebration of a blended family coming together. You have Anna's dad, Christopher Kepner, and he married a woman named Chantel Hudson. And she is the mom of Timothy Hudson. Now, Christopher Kepner has had some strong words for his stepson that we'll talk about here in just a moment. The family was aboard this Carnival cruise ship. It's called the Horizon, and it was a cruise that was going to last about a week. They hit a couple spots in the Caribbean. But then the night before the cruise came to an end, Anna's grandparents told ABC News that she said she wasn't feeling well, so she decided to go back to her stateroom early. The next morning, family members, as they woke up and Anna was nowhere to be found, they heard an announcement about a medical emergency on the loudspeaker. And that's when crew members found 18-year-old Anna Kepner dead in her stateroom. She was allegedly stuffed under a bed, and she had life jackets covering her. Now, this is video that was taken by Sheldon Fox.
But now we know that even if the maid found her, and it was, so that the maid found her, her dad went in there and actually pulled her out from under the bed and checked her pulse, is what has been stated. And that is emotionally wrenching for me. That's just, Southern, I don't think they're going to be married for much long either. I'm not kidding. If my husband's kids did this to my child, I'd be, get out. Nope. No.
Reporter with WSVN in Miami, showing Kepner's body being taken off of the ship when it arrived back in Miami. An autopsy found that Anna Kepner died of what's called mechanical asphyxiation. Someone had put her in a chokehold and killed her. The only other person allegedly in that room with Anna that night was her stepbrother, Timothy Hudson. Now, Anna's parents allegedly had them share a stateroom, and that has been a point of contention. According to a separate custody case that's been playing out involving Anna's stepmom, who is Timothy's biological mom, Chantel Hudson, said she did not give Timothy his medication for insomnia and ADHD on the night that Anna died. Now, we don't know if any of that will factor into Timothy's defense. Anna's grandparents told ABC that Timothy's claiming he doesn't remember anything that happened. Quote, in his own words, says he does not remember what happened. You have to wonder how strong of a defense, though, that could be, considering what we know about the allegations of this case. Now, the family dynamic, that is going to play a huge role in how this plays out in federal court. And not only will Christopher Kepner not be there for the trial, he told the Daily Mail that his wife, Chantel Hudson, she's not going to be there either. She's Timothy Hudson's biological mom.
So, and I haven't watched this. I watched a little excerpt of it. So Timothy's mom's not going to show up either? Chantel? I find that hard to believe, but okay.
Now, her son is facing a charge of first-degree murder and a charge of aggravated sexual assault. And it's possible that Anna's stepmom and Anna's dad will be called as witnesses. Christopher told the Daily Mail that he saw his daughter's body in the stateroom where she was allegedly found by crew members. He was one of the first people to see her. And again, she was allegedly strangled to death and then stuffed under a bed, covered with life jackets. He said, quote, I checked her pulse. I pulled her out from under the bed. I knew my daughter was dead long before the medical examiner got there. He went on to say, quote, I've heard all the evidence. I saw it for myself. They have everything they need. It's going to be too painful.
He went to a hospital. He went to a mental hospital. So we don't have answers for that yet. You think neither one will be there because of it's one child? Well, I can understand why the dad doesn't want to be there, to hear all the gruesome details and stuff. But I need to know more about Chantel. I need to know, is she supporting her son? Is she supporting her husband? I haven't seen any statements either way. So I'm just kind of confused here, just with my thoughts. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying, Hannah. I've taken both of these medications that he's speaking of. And missing a couple days is not going to make you do
to relive it
lunatic
all
shit.
again. The Daily Mail says the night that Anna
Yes,
was killed,
I agree.
her half-brother was also staying in the room with her and Anna's stepbrother, Timothy Hudson. But that half-brother, he went to sleep not knowing that Anna's body was still in the stateroom. The next morning, he allegedly went to the family breakfast, the Daily Mail says, with Timothy Hudson, and it sounds like it was as if nothing had happened. And then when Anna didn't show up for breakfast in the morning, that's when people started looking for her and they made this horrible discovery. Now, you talk about Timothy's defense, and he's claiming he has no idea what happened. At least that's what we're hearing through the grandparents with their interview to ABC News, as well as what Christopher Kepner has been saying in interviews. In a previous one, Christopher Kepner had some very strong words for his stepson. He told the Daily Mail last month, quote, "I want to see him in an orange jumpsuit." And a point of pretrial contention.
Do you blame him? Seriously, do you blame the man for wanting to see his current wife's son in an orange jumpsuit, knowing what he just did to this man's daughter? No, he has no defense.
Has been that Timothy is living with his uncle and he's wearing a GPS monitor, but he doesn't have to be in jail, even though he is accused of murder and accused of an aggravated sexual assault of his stepsister. Now, the conditions of him living with his uncle, those were in place when he was being tried as a minor, but now things have changed because he is now considered an adult in the legal system, and prosecutors say they want him in pretrial detention. They wrote in a motion, quote, "He is a danger to others and should be held in pretrial detention." And they go on to say there is no assurance any court could have that any conditions or combination of conditions would be sufficient to prevent the defendant from being a danger to others. Christopher Kepner told the Daily Mail that Timothy hasn't apologized to him for what happened to his daughter. And he also...
No, Chantel is the current wife. Chantel is the current wife. Chantel is the mother of Timothy. And they're saying neither one of them are going. Timothy's mother nor Anna's father. So what about, okay, so here we are thinking out loud. So Timothy's biological dad is where? Because he's staying with his uncle. And his uncle's okay keeping him. I think he should be in jail up until trial.
says that he and his wife have not spoken to Timothy since December when he went to live with his uncle. So Timothy Hudson has been out of contact with his own mother, Chantel Hudson. Christopher said that Timothy is a danger and he should be in custody. So
yeah, okay, I see what you're saying now. No. No, they're saying Chantel and Anna's father. So her stepmother and her biological father are not going to go. I don't know. They haven't said about her biological mom. We reviewed listening to her biological mom saying she's been out of her life. They didn't let her go to the funeral, but there's no reason she shouldn't, or she couldn't go to the trial. Whether she chooses to or not, I don't really know. They haven't said.
Here's what we know about the evidence that could put this teen in federal prison for decades. On March 10th, the federal government filed an indictment against Timothy Hudson. It was just unsealed, and it shows that the teenager is facing charges of first-degree murder and that charge of aggravated sexual abuse. And it alleges that Hudson, quote, did knowingly and unlawfully perpetrate and attempt to perpetrate a murder that is the willful, deliberate, malicious, and premeditated killing of AK with malice aforethought, meaning he allegedly planned it, and that this, according to prosecutors, was not a split-second act. Now, count 2 is that aggravated sexual abuse, and the indictment alleges that Hudson, quote, did knowingly cause AK to engage in a sexual act and did so by the use of force against AK. That decision to charge him as an adult, to try him as an adult, that became official on April 10th. And many of the documents related to this case were unsealed giving us a glimpse into what prosecutors have moving towards a trial. And we're learning that the government has evidence, according to a discovery filing that was also unsealed, showing that federal prosecutors turned over to the defense autopsy photographs, x-rays, the full medical examiner's report with notes, and an extraction of someone's cell phone, and that is believed to be Anna's father, Christopher Kepner's cell phone. There were also 4 body camera videos from the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Department that will be used, and FBI timelines created by a special agent assigned to the case. Authorities have also allegedly used 3D crime scene reconstruction technology to show how Kepner's body was allegedly found in that stateroom. Timothy Hudson is slated to go on trial June 1st. Join us now to talk about this case is former Palm Beach County State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg. Always great to have you here on Law and Crime. This June 1st trial date, I want to start there. I know a lot, emotion can come up to delay a trial, but just in terms of looking at the calendar, what will determine whether or not that actually will be the date that Timothy Hudson would go on trial?
Well, it depends if he demanded speedy trial. And right now, he hasn't waived his right to speedy trial. So they could insist on putting their foot on the gas and requiring the prosecutors to try the case.
Okay, this is what we read earlier here. Let me make me up here. So right here, in an interview with Daily Mail, Anna's dad, Christopher Kepner, said that as the murder case heads to trial in June, he will not be present, nor will his wife, which is Timothy's mother, Chantel Kepner. Unless they ask me to be there, neither my wife or I will be attending the Titusville, Florida, father said in the interview published Friday, May 1st. I've heard all the evidence. I saw it for myself. They have everything they need. It's going to be too painful to relive it all again. I checked her pulse. I pulled her out from under the bed. The grieving father told the outlet, I knew my daughter was dead long before the medical examiner got there. I don't want to be back in that room. And then on her 19th birthday, which will be June 13th, they're going to have the memorial.
It's on June 1st, but I suspect it's going to be delayed at some point. These things often do. It just, you have these 2-3 week trial periods that are set up, and June 1st is the start of that window. It's I believe it's a 2-week trial period here. But I don't know, a high profile case like this, if to see the jury, you've got to get all your ducks in a row. I can see that this could be delayed somewhat.
He said ducks in a row. He said ducks in a row. All right. Let's do it.
Christopher Kepner, who's Anna Kepner's dad. I can't imagine what a parent would be going through. I mean, these were people who were going on a cruise and then, living private lives. And then now everybody is talking about, your daughter who ends up being murdered on this cruise. He says he's not going to go to the trial. Family support, does that have any impact typically on how a trial could play out?
Oh, as far as the fact that the father is going to be involved, the actual
Comedy
birth father?
And chaos, y'all.
Yeah, that he says he is not going to go to the trial, will not be in the room.
And see, if I would have let this play longer, we would have heard them tell us all this. But no, y'all know I have to go and run before everybody else, pull what I want to pull because I know what I want to say. It's so funny. See, I don't watch these, y'all. I tell y'all, I do this blind. See, here he's telling y'all what I've already pulled up. Okay, shut up, Sheila.
Fact that the father is going to be involved, the actual birth father?
Yeah, that he says he is not going to go to the trial, will not be in the room. Also, the birth mom of Timothy.
So the birth father has also stated that. See, I wasn't aware of that. That's what I was questioning.
As far as the fact that the father is going to be involved, the actual birth father?
Yeah, that he says he is not going to go to the trial, will not be in the room. Also, the birth mom of Timothy Hudson, which is like the interesting family dynamic here, Chantel Hudson, stepmom of Anna Kepner, says the two of them say that they're just not going to go to the trial, feel like they've seen the evidence, prosecutors have enough. Does that, though, like as a prosecutor, do you need to have the family in the courtroom? Is that something that might have an impact on the jury whatsoever if it gets to that point?
You know, the evidence is so strong here. I don't think you need to have the family there. Perhaps it's useful if the evidence is weaker, then you can play upon the sympathies of the jury. But in reality, prosecutors are not going to file this case unless they believe they can get a conviction beyond a reasonable doubt. That's a heavy burden, but it's a burden they can reach. They've got a lot of evidence here, and the defense doesn't have much except for saying he blacked out. So that means he has no mens rea, no intent. But you could still be convicted of very serious crimes, even if you didn't intend.
Right, exactly. Wait, wrong one. Southern, exactly. So none of the parents want to show up. They're like, oh, well, fuck it. We know he did it. We have, there's some text messages that we all haven't seen. People are going in freaking, in public social media, family members texting. See, Mommy's okay. Lola had to come check. That's all right. Mommy's okay, baby. Yeah. So here we are. We got, they've got social media stuff. They're like, oh, obviously they've got some kind of issue thinking that he's already guilty because they don't even want to go, they have no care in the world of even dealing with this. So I'm like, wow. That's why I wouldn't make a good jury. I'd be Googling I know, right? Here I am. I'm Googling things and I'm finding, hi, baby. Oh, it's your girl. Finding all these, look, Lola. Look, Mama needs to make you an icon because I haven't made you an icon. We only have meat. It won't let me show it. It won't pop it up on screen. There it goes. We got ducks and we got meat. Mommy needs to make you one, okay? Mommy needs to make you one and put it over there. We need a Lola icon. And then when I get monetized over here and I'm able to do my cute little emojis, we'll have emojis over here for both of them.
To kill someone. So I think this thing is headed towards justice, a guilty verdict in my mind. And I don't think it matters if the family's in the courtroom physically or not.
Christopher Kepner also told the Daily Mail, he talked about, and again, this is tough. Like if, any parent who would have to go through this, like I'm sympathetic to it of, finds his daughter, she's dead. He says he pulled her out from underneath the bed, knew that she was dead before EMTs were able to arrive. Is that the type of witness you would want as a prosecutor? Like he says he doesn't want to go to the trial, but how likely is it that he may find himself on the stand? I also just think of the family dynamic that's at play and how much that could go into the story that prosecutors are going to tell.
Too.
I mean, he's an important witness. I mean, he's the one who found the body, and so he'll be compelled to testify. Now, here's the thing.
See, why did he just say that? He's the one that found the body. Why did he just say that? What paperwork? Where did he read that or hear that? Y'all understand my conflicting? This is what I was saying earlier. These things that I'm listening to. He just said, I'm going to rewind it a little bit.
On the stand. I also just think of the family dynamic that's at play and how much that could go into the story that prosecutors are going to tell.
I mean, he's an important witness. I mean, he's the one who found the body, and so he'll be compelled to testify. Now, here's the thing. The fact that he's testifying also means there's a rule invoked.
See, that's why I'm saying and that's why I'm like, okay, is this false information? What is happening? Why is this coming out like this? Because now this makes people confused. Because that was from the beginning, the maid found the body. Now, Mr. Kepner is now saying that, he checked her pulse and knew she was deceased and all that. But so the maid found her first and then he came in. And we have the video. We've seen the mom running up and down, the stepmom running up and down the hallway screaming. So do you see the confusion? I hate it. It just I just need facts. Just Don't confuse me, people.
Which means he can't be in the courtroom for the trial to see other witnesses because that could influence your own testimony. So the fact that he is a material witness in the case means that this is not a question of whether he should be there for sympathy. It's a question of whether he's even allowed to be in the courtroom while others are testifying. And so it's a balance, because if he wanted to be there, he's a survivor here. He's a victim's family member, but at the same time, he's a material witness. But it's less complicated now that he does not want to be there to see the other testimony. I mean, I don't blame him. Everyone grieves in their own ways, and it must be very difficult for a family member to have to deal with watching this all over again, to go through the trauma of reliving it all over again. So I respect his wishes.
Right. And I respect that. And I respect that not wanting to relive it again and all that. I mean, look, Kohberger took a plea supposedly to keep from having everything come out. Right. Wrong. I don't know. Okay. But
this year.
When it comes to the defense, and I know we've talked about this before, and officially we don't know what Timothy Hudson's defense will be. We do know the grandparents spoke to ABC News and have said that he says he doesn't remember, that he blacked out. Christopher Kepner, who's Anna Kepner's dad, he also told the Daily Mail something.
And as a grandparent, like I said before on the previous stream that I did on this, you're going to want to trust your grandchild.
Similar to that just seems to be the story that Timothy Hudson was telling this 16-year-old after Anna Kepner was found dead. Why is that not a defense? Typically, I blinked and this happened and I have no idea how it happened. Like, why is that something that it seems like a very high bar to reach if that were to be successful?
Yeah, it is, but they're trying to get one of the elements removed from first-degree murder. And if they can remove that mens rea, that intentional element, then he would not be found guilty of first-degree murder, the most serious crime, which could lead to life in prison. He's going to say that he was not in control of his actions. He lacked the specific intent. Okay, and that could mean that he would be found not guilty. You have to show premeditation. You have to show what's called malice aforethought to get convicted for that. So that's why they're trying to use this impulse or blackout narrative to try to knock it down to second-degree murder or manslaughter, which is even less. So I think it's probably smart because the evidence is so strong that he killed Anna that it would.
No. And I'm sorry. With the sexual assault that happened with it, no. Nope. Call me a bitch. Nope. Nope. Not only did you choke, barhold, asphyxiate her to end her life, she was also sexually assaulted. No. This ain't no, I just blacked out for a minute. No. Whoo. Right. And okay, if he can't control his shit and you're just going to let him run the streets and stuff and go out and work from, whatever it was, 8 to 6 or whatever the time was. I don't remember. I'd seen it somewhere.
I think, foolish to say that, no, he wasn't. Some other mysterious, real killer is the one who did it. So they're being smart and trying to get a lesser offense.
Because if the defense was able to come out, maybe if that's the defense they go with, and they are able to present him to a jury as a sympathetic figure, this is just a 16-year-old boy, he blacked out, he had no idea what happened. Like, as a prosecutor, how do you counter that?
Well, you can count on the fact that the defense is going to lean into the fact that he was a minor at the time. They're going to say this poor, then 16-year-old, you're trying him as an adult. This is an overreach by the government. And they'll dress him up in like a Menendez Brothers sweater or a Nicholas Cruz oversized glasses to try to infantilize him. Yeah. I think that's going to happen for sure. Now, as a prosecutor, you focus on the evidence and the fact that the victim herself was a young girl who should never have lost her life like this, and how this is more than just a situation where he blacked out, but that there's premeditation. There shows some planning. Shows some attempt to escape liability, escape arrest by trying to hide the body, by lying. You want to show that he acted inappropriately with Anna previously. Remember, Anna has an ex-boyfriend who said that, yeah, that guy, the stepbrother, he was hitting on Anna back then. And so that's kind of stuff that will influence a jury.
And well, and the other part of it too, and I want to be delicate with how I phrase this, but it is one of the charges that he's facing. To argue if there was a self-defense argument or something along those lines that the defense wanted to go with, I don't know if they have that, but if they were, the fact that he is facing, and there is allegedly evidence that proves that she was sexually abused, how does that impact how the defense could try and, if they were going to go with the self-defense, it just doesn't feel like if you have that as well, that you'd be able to be successful in making that argument.
It's so important because it's also an anchor for the charge of felony murder. Remember, there are different ways you can get convicted of murder here. And if the murder is during the commission of another serious crime, like aggravated sexual abuse, then he goes down for both of them. So that's where it's important. It's not just important for its own sake to show that he committed sexual abuse and hold him accountable for it, but it's also important to bring in the murder case, even if you show that he didn't have the intent to kill her. He can still be found guilty of murder. Plus, just by showing facts that he allegedly sexually assaulted her, all that goodwill that the defense is going to try to create by the fact that he's this young man, this boy who just had medical issues and blacked out, that's not going to play with a jury who believes that he committed aggravated sexual abuse of poor Anna.
What do you make of the fact that he is out right now? And I know he's on a GPS monitor. He's at his uncle's house. Apparently he has done everything to a T. That was the plan when the arrangement when he was being tried as a juvenile. But now that he's facing these charges in adult court, I think the question so many people have is like, how is he able to not be in pretrial detention right now?
Yeah, there's always a deference to pretrial release. That's this federal system. It's even the state system. And when you're a juvenile, you do get the benefit of the doubt for that. I understand why people would want him to be behind bars. After all, he's being charged with the most serious of crimes. Most people who are charged with first-degree murder are not released pretrial. But this is an unusual circumstance because he's 16 years old at the time. And also, he was given pretrial release out on bond for months. And remember, he had GPS monitoring at his uncle's home without a single violation. So that's why I'm not too caught up about it. I don't think he's a flight risk. I don't think he's a danger to the community. I think he should be held accountable for his actions. But at the same time, I'm not going to lose sleep on the fact that he's got this pretrial release.
And when it comes to just kind of going back to his defense, and if the defense that they go with is something along the lines of he doesn't remember what happened, he blacked out. Like on the prosecutor's side, because I know his mom in the civil trial that had been going on, the custody case, she had said he had ADHD and insomnia. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how that contributes. If that would play a role in somebody blacking out and not knowing what happened if they allegedly killed somebody. But how do you as a prosecutor, or I guess maybe more so from the defense, like does there need to be a diagnosis or something to actually give basis to that whatsoever, other than just saying, I just don't remember what happened?
It'll be expert testimony. It'll be the battle of the experts, which can sometimes create reasonable doubt because if the jury's like, oh, that expert says this, the other expert says this, how do I know for sure? So you need corroboration. You need to show amount of evidence so that the jury thinks, yeah, one of these doctors is legit, the other one's a quack. That's what you're hoping as a prosecutor. Now it's interesting.
Dr. Lewis, ring a bell.
Saying that the medical examiner said that she died because she had been put in a bar hold, a chokehold. So when he says that I blacked out, I don't remember it. Well, it shows some intent when you choke someone like that. Now the defense is going to counter. They're going to bring in their own experts to say, well, this was a struggle that went too far rather than a deliberate execution. And so this is why it will always evolve into a battle of experts. By the way, just as an aside, to hear the explanation about what was his insomnia as a result, it reminds me of whenever a celebrity gets in trouble and does something stupid, they always cite what they say, dehydration and lack of sleep or something like, all right, I think the public is pretty aware of these excuses, and I don't think they're going to buy it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, eventually when it gets to this point, on the expert front of it, and this is a completely different case, but I remember like Karen Reed, there was that argument of like, is this a dog bite expert? Like, is this someone that should be allowed to actually testify? Like, how can that impact the timeline of all of this? If the defense is bringing in these experts, then you have the prosecutors saying like, I just don't think that this person should be able to speak in front of a jury.
Yeah, you got to get the expert to be allowed to testify. They just can't bring in any quack from the streets. You have to have someone with credentials who the judge will say, okay, you're allowed to testify. But then the prosecution can poke holes and say, you testify on behalf of the defense in every case, right? 100 cases all on behalf of the defense, and you always say the same thing. So that can discredit an expert because then it just sounds like a hired gun rather than objective medical authority.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens next. June 1st on the calendar right now. Unclear if we'll be talking about a trial on that day, but we'll see what happens. Dave Ehrenberg, always great to have you here on Law and Crime. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Chris.
That will do it for On the Case.
These crazy ass dogs. These dogs been making me crazy today. I was trying to find.
You're feeling stressed and your mind's a mess. Wanna decompress? Take a few deep breaths. It'll make you feel okay, and there ain't no doubt this'll be a better day. Breathing in and out. If you feel
Okay, so we had to take a breather. Whew, that was a lot to take in. So at this point, we just kind of have. My husband keeps fucking texting me, and I wish he would stop because he knows I'm streaming, but he wants to. Oh. Okay. Here I am. I'm bitching because he's texting me. Okay, y'all. Y'all, shut up, okay? And what he texted was, miss you, babe, with a kissy face. See? I know. I know he loves me. It was fun this weekend. So that's why I wanted to transition. We take a break. We did a funny little decompress our stress. So I want to just show y'all real quick what I did this weekend. I wanted to live stream over the weekend, but it didn't happen. It was very, very windy out there. And yeah, it made my day. It made my day. He's wonderful. He's wonderful. And y'all are gonna see him in these videos. So I'm gonna play these. They're in order of how my day went. There's a couple of videos and some couple of screenshots. I just want to just kind of hang out for a few minutes. Now that we're going to take a break on Anna Kepner. So as of now, we know trial is supposed to begin on June 1st. We will see. We will keep track and see what happens. He is now in adult court, so we'll go from there. So let's play for a minute. I'm going to show y'all. You'll come for a drive. Okay, so they say it's really muddy out there. So our first stop is Walmart for some little shorty mud boots because we're not going to go out there and get mud. But we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so here's my boots. I stopped and I got my boots. I got my mud boots. When we got there, you had to go stand in these lines for crawfish. These lines they would run out, and it was so muddy. You see all this mud? It was a muddy mess. It was so loud, but I like crawfish, so this was the thing. It was called the big ass crawfish. It's very windy and it's very noisy, so I'm not sure we're gonna even do it live. I'll let y'all know. And we got to see Still Cracker. If you don't know who Still Cracker is, he has a YouTube channel. And he does cooking. and it's something that Hector and I watch. We enjoy him. He's Cajun. He does cooking. Hector was worried about taking a picture with him. Hector was like, he says, "Do we have to pay to take our picture?" I said, "No." He said, "Are you sure?" So I walked up to Mr. Stale Cracker and I said, y'all know me and my big smart ass mouth. I said, "My husband thinks we have to pay to take a picture with you. Do I have to give you money?" He looked at me and goes, "No, get over here." So this is our picture. We took our picture. I mean, it was so funny. And then we went back. We went back to actually buy one of the paddles that he was signing, and they were sold out. So we didn't get one. So these were just a couple little extra pictures. Yes, yes, alcohol. I can't. I should have blocked out my alcohol, but I I I got that, and I'm gonna play that when we're done here, Bellas. When I'm done with this one. Yeah, we had a beer. It is what it is. Here's another little video. Hang on. I don't remember what I said. Oh, wait. I know. This is Hector's on this one. Hang on. You get to see him on this one. You do? You do? We watch him all the time. Okay, babe. I'm putting you on the spot.
Hold up.
No, hold up. What do you think?
Huh?
What do you think?
It's all right.
Yeah?
Yeah. Having a good time.
Having a good time. There you go. I put him on the spot. I did. I so put him on the spot. I did. Let's rewatch that just because I like putting him on the spot. Okay, babe. I'm putting you on the spot.
Hold up.
No, hold up. What do you think?
Huh?
What do you think?
It's all right.
Yeah?
Yeah. Having a good time.
Having a good time. There you go. Okay. And while we were sitting there, this lovely man came up and brought us a whole tray because they were given those little bitty, like little small serve trays of them. Some man, while we were sitting in his booth, came up and brought me a whole tray. And I was like, "It's my birthday. It's my birthday." This was the ones, and they're called Swamp Shack. They're out of Kema, Texas. So here we are. You realize you're too old to be walking around these festivals with arthritis and everything else. It's been. Hang on, let me reset. You realize you're too old to be walking around these festivals with arthritis and everything else. It's been an adventure, to say the least. So yeah, we're sitting out in front of the mall waiting. Hello. Hello. Muffins is coming to pick us up. And that was it. It was an all you could eat buffet. And then we went to Kayla's dad's house and sat out in the bar. I used to live there. I mean, me and her dad were married for 12 years. And so we went there, and Kayla's dad has chickens. And so Hector was so enthralled watching the chickens walk around the backyard. He was so happy about them damn chickens. Okay, so we're gonna go. Anyways, I wanted to share that. We had a great time. I know, Hio. He's a fucking blast. He's a blast. Thank you, Abellas. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, we had such a good time. With and this is just side talk after our case talk side talk, okay? So we're done with case talk. This is side talk. Um, you know, Living with my mother-in-law with dementia, and we don't get away very often. So when we do get those few moments out, Lola, stop. So when we do get those moments out, they are special and we do make the most of it. And I really stop, Lola. There's nothing over there. So I really like sharing those with y'all and letting y'all, experience rubber outside of true crime, because we all Feliz cumpleaños, mi amor. I love you too, Hio. Thank you. You been in a banana tree? A banana tree. Okay. I'm not even gonna ask. Not gonna ask about a banana tree. But anyways, what I was saying was that I do enjoy bringing that outside life of Rubber's not always at home. She does get to get out every once in a while, and when I do, I totally enjoy sharing that with y'all. We live each day to our fullest and do what we can to get through days. And I'm telling you, the stress of taking care of an elderly with dementia really weighs down on you. And you have to have those little breaks. So I was very blessed and lucky to get that break. So I just want to let y'all know that, I do get out the house. All right. Abella sent me this. It is almost 3 minutes long. We're gonna watch this, and after we watch this, we're gonna go because we've been here almost 3 hours. Uh-oh. He lost his toy. We're gonna end with that, Hio. Oh, you hear the kitty. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all. I have kittens. I totally forgot. I found Saturday night. Hio, I was going to call you because I was so freaked out. I have kittens. I think there's 5 of them out there. One of them doesn't have his eyes open yet, but the 4 that I've seen, they have their eyes open. And it was Lola that found them. I was so worried. I was so paranoid she was going to kill these kittens. She hasn't, and I've only let her around them a couple times. Yeah, I was really freaked out. Yeah, meat'll play, but meat'll play rough. That's my problem. Yes, and Lola's still not sure. She sticks her because they're under I have a box out there, a wooden box, and they're underneath the wood. So Lola's sticking her nose up under the wooden box, but her tail's wagging like she wants to play. But I'm scared, so but I told Victorious, I was like, let them be outside cats, let them grow up out there. They can catch the mice, just leave them alone. The dogs will learn to get along with them once they get big enough. So yes, I have kittens, but I don't have to raise them. They're outside. Oh. Lola bites Meat's leg. She'll go behind him and she'll grab his leg and she'll bite his leg and pull it. Aww. Down there to be none. Dolly's just as bad as her mama. She's a misunderstood pain in the ass.
Some of them.
Oh, the kitty. Look at that white chunk on the middle of its back. That's cute. I hope so. I'm yes, I'm gonna look. Let me finish. That is so cute. Yes, I have a small little cage. When they get a little bit bigger, I'm looking. The same people that did Meet and Lola, the Empty Shelter project here, is a great asset to our community, and I hope to be able to use them again for these kittens. Um, so you think they have a program for the feral colonies? Yeah, that's a good. I'll have to look into that. I'm gonna have to find something. I don't want them to reproduce. And like I said, I love the empty shelter project that we have here locally. I have there is a link on my community post for them. If y'all, I mean, I don't know why, but anyways, yeah, they did Meet and Lola, and it's totally awesome, right? That looked like snow. Dave was cute. I I I I like cats. I always had a cat growing up. I had a calico cat that would sit in a on a black bar stool, and my cousin called him Throw Up because he was a dark calico. My cousin Keith called him Throw Up. Um, but we weren't allowed to have cats, so this one was dark, and he laid on this dark black chair, and nobody seen him. So dad didn't know he was there. So by time dad noticed him, um, by time my dad noticed him, it was too late. He wasn't going anywhere. He was already a permanent fixture. So I'm going to, what we're going to do is I'm going to play my typical.
You is smart. You is kind. You is important.
And I always want you all to always remember that you are always important, no matter what. So we are going to exit out on the short of lemon pound cake because I've played it before and I know I can get away with it. It'll put a little thingy on my thing, but I don't get well, I'm not monetized, but I don't get knocked down for it. So it's my birthday, and we're gonna watch a little pound cake. So lemon pound cake for my birthday. Peace. Rubber out. Y'all have a great rest of your night.
Adams County Sheriff kicked down my door. Then I heard the glass spray. They found no kidnapping victims, just some lemon pound cake. Mama's lemon pound cake. It tastes so nice. It made the sheriff wanna put down his gun and cut him a slice. He's a Adams County Sheriff. He's hungry and he's big as hell. He was sniffing for weed. Then he smelled another smell. What was that? Mama's lemon pound cake. It tastes
nice. All right. All right. With that, peace. Rubber out. Y'all have a great rest of your night.